Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Vainglory Premier League Summer Opens Championship Sunday. We're broadcasting to you live from the Las Vegas Strip. We're in the PokerGo studio of the Aria Resort and Casino, and we're ready to jump on into our championship matches. It's time for North America. We had Europe earlier. My name is Munchballs. This is Tasty Bacon on my left, and as we head on into our championship opening rise, it's time to talk about the matchups we have coming up today.
Yeah, absolutely cannot wait. The final day of competition in the Summer Open is here, and we will be crowning a champion for North America.
We certainly shall. Let's take a look at our bracket and how things are going to be panning out across the course of today. Our championship matchup will be between Tribe and Nova Esports. That is a much-awaited matchup. I cannot wait to see what's going to be happening there between those two teams. But first, we'll be jumping into our third place decider between Vision and Ferox. So excited to see which teams are going to be able to do the best off of that. But I want to talk first about Nova Esports and specifically Delphi, because this guy, he's been a player for a very long time. But in this tournament specifically, he has risen from an average jungler to an all-star.
Yeah, he has been absolutely phenomenal, topping or being in the charts for a lot of these different stats, but really being a catalyst for Nova. You see there, the KDA is absolutely through the roof for him. Through 7 games, he has still a 9.0 KDA. You know, the gold per minute, not quite as high as other players, but a lot of that is because of the way that he plays. He is focused more on rotating around, finding those situations to set up his teammates to be able to carry.
Yeah, he allows people like Starting All Over and Truth to get those kills, to get that gold, and to continue to rocket up the scoreboard. And we'll see if that's going to be the case today as well. He's been an absolute stalwart player. And, you know, it's incredibly impressive, especially considering they had a full 3-game series yesterday to still have a 9 KDA after losing and after having such messy games. You expect that to be a lot lower. So his average is insanely strong. But let's take a look at what happened yesterday in our Rockstar Rewind, how Nova actually qualified for a championship game.
Yeah, they were so clean in the way that they played their matchups against Vision, really denying Vision a lot of that map control that they usually like to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. And just doing such a good job in these team fights from denying Vision from doing anything that they wanted to. And we can take a look at our predictions for today. Now, my predictions are the same as they were yesterday. Tasty Bacon, yours seem to have changed somewhat.
I mean, I had Vision as the top team. I thought they were going to take it and be able to take down Tribe, but the way that Nova played to be able to beat Vision, if they play that sort of style and play it and execute it as well as they did in their 2 wins against Vision, I do feel like they have what it takes to take down Tribe.
Sure, but on the other side of the coin, you've got Tribe, who came in the tournament as a favorite. They have waltzed through every single series they've had so far. They were expected to be in the final. They're in the final. There's been no stress whatsoever for them. And then you've got Nova on the other side. I'm not trying to say Nova's not a good team. Nova is an awesome team, and I expect this to be a close series, but they have struggled to get here. They had to they went 3 games with Vision, and Game 2 was, you know, dicey for them as well. So it's definitely a tale of 2 very different levels here, where we've got Tribe, they're just oozing professionality.
Yeah, I mean, again, Tribe is going to be the favorite coming into this one. I'm not going to beat around the bush and say that, you know, they're not the favorite, but I do think that Nova has what it takes to be able to find wins. They found a win against them in the preseason. They're going to look to continue that trend here in the championship game. So I think that Nova does have what it takes, and if they play at their A game, I do feel like they have what it takes to take down Tribe.
We'll have to see if it's going to happen here today, but first we have to decide our third place. Let's take a look at our third place series, presented of course by PlayVig. It's going to be Vision Gaming going up against Ferox. Now, this should be an incredibly close series, honestly, because Vision, yes, they're losing out to Nova. We can take a look at their lineup as well. They looked a little bit shaky. They look like now that they're against the better teams, they've struggled to control the map in the same way that we used to. Shade Talent, Cos, TiVo, Lucius, PvP Warrior. We also saw Neon Fire playing yesterday as well. I'd expect to see this team kind of shuffling around a little bit between 6 players, because they did yesterday. We've seen a lot of the top teams right now are doing that.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see who is actually in the starting lineup for them today. But on the other side, we do know who will be starting for Ferox. It is Shamu, Moshi, Rock Bomber, Papa John, and Pico. Of course, they also have some very strong subs on their roster as well. Lost by Toph and Big Paws, aka Daniel. But they could move sub in at any point. But they said that's what they're starting with.
Absolutely, and we can take a look at the comparison of these two teams as well. Statistically, very similar teams, especially when you look at the goal per minute. Literally 1 goal per minute difference between them.
Yeah, it's actually really, this kind of speaks almost to how impressive it has been for Ferox in their run up to this point. And the fact that they've been able to keep up with other top teams in these stats, in these very important stats across the board.
I mean, let's take a moment to appreciate Ferox run through the tournament. They were not an expected top team. No. They were not necessarily, like, people were expecting something from them. You know, lost by Toffs on the roster. There's a little bit of experience there, or in fact, a lot of experience there. But the rest of the roster was kind of unknown. There was a lot of question marks, but they have come in swinging, and they have proven that they absolutely deserve to be here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they, even against Tribe, they had some moments. They almost came back and won the game 2 against Tribe, but they couldn't quite seal the deal. And so this is a team that, again, can put up these very strong fights as long as they survive the early game. That's kind of the catalyst for them, is can they survive long enough? Can they stall the game out long enough for them to get to the late game team fighting stage?
We'll have to see if they're going to be able to survive that early game. Now, I'm sure a lot of you at home already know, but Yates is going to be revealed for Vainglory on Wednesday. He's going to be available in-game. And we have a little teaser for you guys on what he's all about.
For generations, our people have run from the churn. But now, with Githian steel, Elkin magic, and Seraphim knowledge, my men and I have obliterated the infested lands, making way for those who will end the cycle of devastation forever. If some old trees must fall, if some beasts swear revenge, well, that is the price to be paid for survival.
And Yates will be available during the Autumn Open as well, which will be coming your way. Autumn Open is going to be coming on the 20th of October, and signups are already open, so we want to see you guys at home getting involved. If you've got 4 mates that you play Vainglory with, even if you're not Vainglorious in the game, we've seen teams in the Summer Open that are below Vainglorious. There's definitely room for maneuver.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get yourself in, sign up. It is free to do so. And you could be vying for your shot at a piece of the $10,000 prize pool.
Absolutely. 2 weekends of games, $10,000 on the line. I'd get involved if I was you. But it's time to kick off our 3rd place decider match. See who is going to be taking a slice of that prize. Because let's bear in mind, only one of these teams walks away with any money. There's $500 up for grabs. This is a $500 money match, essentially.
Effectively, yeah. There's $500 on the line. Winner gets all of it, though. No, the loser, unfortunately, will walk away empty-handed, and you don't want to have to grind it out for 4 weeks straight, because obviously neither of these teams playing in the play-in round, but 4 weeks of play for these guys to walk away empty-handed. That's a big feels bad, man. So you want to be the team coming out on top here, and you see the bands getting underway already.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious to see how this draft is going to pan out, because we've seen some interesting picks out of these two teams over the last couple of weeks. Kensei somehow made it through the bans, though, so immediately that is the interesting pick in all scenarios when he's made it through the bans. I'd expect Vision to just first pick this, but maybe it's something they don't play. It's not something we've seen them use specifically.
Yeah, I would be surprised if they didn't. They're not going to take the Kensei. They give it over to the side of Ferox. This has been Ferox's crux. This has been what they've fallen back on. They have won so many games with this Kensei. I don't understand why this is getting let through to them. Like, if you've done any sort of looking into Ferox's history recently, their best performances are with Kensei. It doesn't even make sense to me.
Honestly,
I don't understand it.
Kensei is not inherently broken, but when you have an entire team that is going to play around his style, he's going to assassinate your carries, and he's going to be terrifying in the later stages of the game. Bear in mind, Ferox wants to get to the late game. Kensei is pretty much the best late game hero in the game, bar maybe Baron.
It looks like Vision wants to just go for a really tanky composition and say, this is how we deal with Kensei, by just having a whole lot of health in front of him. But we've seen teams try and do that against Kensei players before. It hasn't worked. It is very rare that a team has an answer for Kensei, and usually when they do, it's because it's the only time we've seen Kensei lose is when the team that won was a heavy favorite in the match previously already. So I just don't agree with this decision to let it through here.
We have seen it lose compositionally though. Like in some of those matchups, they were close games, and it didn't feel like it was just, oh, these guys were just better. Sometimes, like if you can build a composition around protecting your carries, if you can just survive his onslaught, try and burst him down before he can finish someone off, it can work. But then, if you add Reza into the mix, if you add a Lorelei to keep him alive while he's jumping onto the back line, and also deny Lorelei from your opponents, suddenly things start to look real scary.
Yeah, again, looks like Team Squish versus Team Tank right now. There's 4 heavily defensive heroes that are just very durable, have a lot of health, and if they lock in this Rona, that is exactly what they're doing, just full on as much health and durability as possible. And over on the other side, you have 4 rather squishy heroes, and we'll see what they rounded out with on the side of Ferox, because they do not have any of this durability.
Toph is playing, so they could just lock in the Finn. That's
They very
something
well
we
could.
know Toph for. Like, Toph kind of made his name on
They
Finn.
could, but the problem is, if you pull a Rona, a Tony, an Arden, and a Lance into your team,
Very true,
that is
very
not
true.
what you want in this situation. So it looks like we're actually going to have to wait a little bit to find out what that final pick is going to be.
Yeah, I'm going to assume it's not Finn. I mean, there was a couple of captains still open, so we'll see which direction they want to go with that one. This is actually turning out to be a pretty interesting draft, though, honestly. I feel like even though Kensei is on the side of Ferox, the draft on the other side of the board is actually still terrifying. Like Vision, if they can control the map the way that we know they can.
The most interesting thing to me about this draft that Vision has done here is they let the Kensei through and then didn't draft a single clear target for Kensei. Like normally when you see teams go up against Kensei, they still have a Celeste, or they have one of these or a Kinetic, or one of these backline carries that is Kensei just says, that's my target, I'm going after them every single fight. That doesn't exist on this Vision lineup. So this may well be the answer to Kensei,
Maybe this is it.
It's awfully risky still. We'll see if they can do it, especially because there's the other thing about this is not an early game composition that Vision have put together. They know that the side of Ferox struggles early game, so they said, you know what? We're just going to go for a full-on late game composition as well.
Fortress is going to be coming on through as the final pickup here for the side of Ferox. So it's pretty much hard engage versus just bruisers, just full bruiser composition. I'm actually really excited to see how Vision plays this.
Fun.
This is a very different composition to what we're used to seeing. So keep your eyes on Vision and try and figure out how they're going to play this one.
It's a very different composition from what we're used to seeing from both of these teams. Like, we're not used to seeing this kind of late game fight-focused composition out of Vision, and we're not used to seeing this early game dive composition out of Ferox. So maybe both teams going a little bit out of their comfort zone, just trying to catch their opponents off guard. Who knows? It's going to be really interesting, though. But I do actually really like the way that both teams went about that draft.
I'm excited for this draft because Vision's roster is not something we've seen much of, but it's about time that we kick this money match off. It's time to find out who's going to be able to get that third place spot. It's Vision up against Ferox. I'm going to pass it once again to Humanist and Excounter.
Hello, Vainglorians, and welcome to this fiery third place matchup. I'm Humanist, joined by Excoundrel. And this is going to be a great series to start the day off. Excoundrel, we have some action already in the bottom. How about them apples, and how you doing?
Well, I'm not convinced Rona is the best pick in the world. I know she's had a couple of updates. I'm not really sure about the 4 scout cams in one brush either. But regardless, that's a good start for the Kensei specifically. Kensei, really strong hero on this current update. And actually, if you look at Ferox's lineup in general, they have a lot of strong heroes here. Really good late game scaling, a lot of power picks, whereas you can see Vision Gaming not quite so much in that territory.
Ferox going hard on Cause right now. Cause, there's nowhere to go. He's down. That's 2-0 for Ferox. That's the weapon buff, and now Gold Oak as well. Things looking quite good for Team Ferox over here. Already over 1K net worth advantage in the first minute. Can you tell me what is going on?
Well, as you can see right now, it is a man advantage across the map for Ferox, obviously, as we can see the Arden is yet to move. Obviously, as players are responsible for their own connections, it's up to Shaded Talent to get back in. So right now, you can just see Team Ferox appearing to try and abuse that man advantage that they have on the map. They really don't have like the best early game composition, but the Fortress and the Kensei combination is doing work, as you can see.
Do you think maybe a bit of strategy coming out of Shaded Talent, just to, you know, to make sure that he catches his opponents off guard as he does make his way back onto the map? No mercy coming out of this hungry stack of Team Ferox, putting them up 5-1 2 minutes in. And quite the unfortunate way to start your first matchup in this series.
Yeah, so basically, it's just giving them false hope. Just saying to Ferox that we're going to give you a bit of false hope, we're going to lull you into a false sense of security, and then we're going to come back and slam you real hard.
And also think about like how hard Shaded Talent can focus on what the rest of his team is doing, right? Like imagine you're trying to backseat drive, right? You're not driving your own car, you're looking at everybody else. So he can just kind of command and conquer this one.
Okay, we finally had the pause come out here, but yes, so you can see Shaded Talent is now back. He's picked up on a couple of items, actually picked up a contract as well. I mean, it's a very small advantage. 2,000 gold is a significant amount to work with at about 2 minutes 30 into the game, Humanist, but it's not insurmountable for...
if I was playing...
Well, yeah, if you were playing. It's not insurmountable for Vision to get back into this, though. They definitely have the potential. They've got a great wombo combo. I mean, if you get that Lance there into a Tony Taunt, you have the CC land, you put them in the gauntlet, and that's where Rona is just going to churn people up. I can see it working. But overall, the composition from Ferox is just stronger, in my opinion, and scales much better, too.
What kind of Rona build works for this matchup here?
Well, there's really only one Rona build that you can go right now, which is Serpent's Mask Breaking Point. I mean, Rona doesn't really function with any other build, right? Especially given how strong Serpent's Mask is on this current update. There isn't much reason to go for a Poison Shift this game. The only thing that you'd be affecting is the healing from the barriers and the healing from Kensei. I would consider a Poison Shift for that Kensei specifically, but I think if you're going to have to look for a wombo combo, the problem is that Poison Shift is such a weak item right now that it's going to really severely hurt Rona's build overall.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't suggest that, definitely. I was more thinking if it was like 5v4, maybe you go just for like the crit build so you can split push super hard, try to take advantage of rotations, but it'll be more of a standard game here as we have Shaded Talent joining up with his team in perfect timing. And who would have thunk it right as the weapon tree is spawning? Nice timing from Shaded Talent.
Yeah, and again, right back into the action, already level 2. I mean, like you said, it's a small disadvantage to work with, but realistically not insurmountable for Vision. It happens in online tournaments, and they're very happy to sort of get back into the game and get going. But no mercy for Team Ferox. They're going to continue their aggression. The boots in from Mozji as well, going for this back gold oak, trying to starve that gold away from Vision Gaming.
And they will successfully take it away. Vision actually have 4 heroes. They should kind of get it. This is a 5 versus 3. Go get them. You can't let someone own your jungle like this. This is an absolute disgrace. Get the in wall, into the impale, into the taunt. It's something that you spoke of just moments earlier. They will only take down the Kensei, but probably the most important kill for them to take.
Definitely, he's the absolute standout performer, especially going into sort of the later game team fights. They do have to worry about Toph on this Scarf, though. I mean, we talk about Kensei scaling well. Scarf scales incredibly well on the other side of the pitch, also in terms of CP. So realistically, whilst yes, you are worried about Kensei, you do also have to pay a mind to Lost Boy on this Scarf, who will, again, if you're focusing Kensei, rip you apart with that Dragon's Breath. They also have a really nice escalator scale in the form of this Reza, although we have a fight.
Yes, that's Papa John being taken down off the bat. Vision Gaming in a good place to grab that weapon buff, and they will. I've been requested to call Pico Peko. I don't know about that. It does throw me off a little bit. What are your thoughts?
Peko. I mean, yeah,
Peko,
I would go for Peko. I'm interested in what Peko is particularly building, though. He's gone for a heavy prism and a blazing salvo. Now that would suggest an alternating current Reza, which, in my eyes, is not the optimal way to play Reza, but it would be very interesting to see.
Yeah, it's not something we typically see. But this guy's not a typical player. I mean, he is the Anka player in North America right now, so he's obviously kind of trying to do his own thing, maybe at times doing it successfully. How does it play out here?
I mean, versus a Tony who you're not going to burst in a 1v1 matchup, there's the potential to take an elongated fight with the alternating current and just try and win in a sustained battle, because you're not going to be bursting. And again, you're not exactly against very many squishy targets, as you can see Peko going in.
Going in, taking a lot of damage, dashes back with the Troublemaker, dropping it incredibly low. The rest of Ferox stunned up with the Githian Wall. They'll follow. The damage is there. Kensei is down, and Team Ferox are now on the run. Lost Boy Toph taunted up with some trash talk. Neon Fire has a stun with the Jawbreaker as well, but nothing else to really lock them down. Crystal Treant close to being taken down. Oh, unfortunately, it won't go over to Vision, but Vision continue to look for the chase. Pekko's low, another stun coming out of the Tony here. They switch focus, a stun onto Chamu, lockdown. Chamu's gonna fall. Vision Gaming, a successful invade into Team Ferox jungle. This will put him up 6-5, 6 minutes in. Still down in overall net worth though.
Yeah, they are working with really good spike at this point in time. They have the tension bow. Yeah, good night, Pekko. They have the Servant's Mask spike on the Rona. They have the Tension Bow spike on the Lance. These are some decent mini spikes for these teams in terms of items. And you also have the Samuel sitting on what I would call a mini lane spike in the form of an Eclipse and a Heavy Prism. So realistically, really nice time to fight. The reason I'm confused about the alternating current, especially against this composition, is although you don't have any squishies to burst, you actually have a lot of people who are going to naturally scale in HP values, which is Arden, Tony, Rona, and Lance. All of them are going to scale very heavily naturally with their natural HP values that they get levels. That makes Aftershock better. Aftershock is a percentage health-based chunker. That makes it better versus these kind of targets. That's kind of why I'm a little bit confused at the alternating current coming out here.
Yeah, but if you have enough crystal power, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, but I mean, alternating current doesn't really give you that much crystal power.
Well, that'll be built after, my man. Yeah, I get your point. Obviously.
No. You're memeing me. I get it.
But, the thing is, it's happening right now. Like we can't stop it. The question is, where does he go next? If you had to predict.
Well, it looks like he's building like a split push build, I imagine. I don't know. He's looking for team fights over and over again, but it just feels like it's a more split push orientated build. I would be going for something like a Dragon's Eye if you're looking for sustained battles.
Yeah, I think that'd be a smart way to go. Pekko moves on in. Look at him. Look at that. Just stutter stepping all over this turret. Lost Boy connected with some damage, and that'll drop it down pretty low. Up in top, Tony's going to be pinned up in his lane for a little bit as he have to shove that wave back out. Did lose the T1 as Team Ferox shoved that forward. He really couldn't do much about that. Back down towards the Crystal Treant here. It's contested. It's taken away by PvP Warrior. A great job by PvP. He'll go ahead and spin with the Red Mist to get himself out of here, and I believe he gets out unless there's a mark to come out of Fortress, and it will not be in time. They lose the Gold Oak, but they get out.
This is heating up a little bit. Pekko really going in on this build, and he's actually not doing too bad at 2-1 and 2. I mean, we can't really fault the guy. Also very good in his ultimate. You get. Do you know what? I've been theory crafting this the entire time you were speaking. Alternating current in the ultimate. Remember, he actually automatically applies his passive when he's in his ultimate. So if you have alternating current in your ultimate, you're looking for a big power play when you activate that ability, Humanist. So actually, it could be useful in team fight situations as well. So I mean, it's not awful. It's just not usual.
Well, we'll see how it's. I mean, I'm really curious to see how it's going to play out for him. One thing is for sure, he will have to make sure that he's able to kite out this Rona. You're not going to just stand and go toe to toe, no matter like how much CPU you build with that AC up and running. Down and bottom, 2-for-2 trade. Moji really not online quite yet. Has the Serpent's Mask. The mid turret does go down in the meantime. Has the Serpent's Mask, working on his way to the breaking point, and that's kind of the takeoff point for most of these Kenseis.
Yeah, absolutely, and you need a little bit of defense behind that as well. I want to have a look at the rest of the builds, though. As you can see, Fountain prioritized by Chamu here. I would have personally prioritized the Crucible a lot. It's kind of standard, especially from what we've seen from the European meta, to go for a Crucible first. You can see in North America, they love going for Fountain first, but when you're facing this much CC, Tony Taunt, Tony Ultimate, Samuel Ultimate, Arden Gauntlet, and Lance B and Lance Impale, that's a lot of things you got to block, dude. I mean, you at least need one on the table, and you can see Chamu actually has picked it up now, so we'll have that there available. But there's just so many things you need to Crucible.
Yeah, well, it's nice actually timing to go ahead and have these both up right now. It's going to help his team a lot. I'd imagine that this could be a signal for them to kind of group up to get some things done. Although at the same time, with this AC Reza build, it kind of feels like a more late game oriented build.
Yeah, I mean, you could see that he's tickling his opposition at this point in time. The trades that he took with Rona and Lance there, he did next to no damage. It does feel like it needs to ramp up, which is why I was talking about pairing it with the Dragon's Eye. So I imagine that's where he's going to be going.
Defensive Gauntlet out. Rona's on the back of the fight, taking a bit of damage here. has into the fray if he wants to go ahead and jump out. Starts the spin just to go ahead and tank up some of that damage. Cause helps with the peel. And with that, Vision Gaming able to reset and get themselves out of this situation. But with this, it's Team Ferox moving right into Ghostwing, and they take this very quickly. Remember, Lost Boy is actually starting to get some decent items up. They will well, actually now this is positioned to be contested. Do you make the jump? No jump made.
Well, I guess you have to respect the fact that they had positional advantage and the fact that you'd used a lot of your fairly key ultimates already in the form of the Gauntlet and the Samuel Oblivion. So you always have to respect that. Maybe you're waiting for some later game power spikes, but the problem is that if you're going towards the later game, you just lose this, right? So you need to be looking to make a move at some point soon. Ferox, though, they are scaling up. They are getting huge amounts of CS, especially onto this Kensei, who's now starting to build towards what I imagine is going to be a slumbering husk. And you can see Peko here has got his remnants of what I imagine, like we talked about, would be that Dragon's Eye. And Scarf is also scaling too as well. I mean, how much time do you give to Ferox here if you're Vision?
I'd give them about 13.5 minutes personally, and then get in there and just end them. Peko's shoving this top lane down quite nicely. Look at this AC just going to work. I mean, who could have predicted this type of a result? Neon Fire, after clearing out the wave, will be able to get a little bit of damage onto Peko, but he's not a real threat. I mean, you'd have to have some other damage source or another source of lockdown. Now, Cause is actually here. Is Peko trying to turn this? But Papa John's made the rotation as well into a 2v2. Peko, what's the play? Is he going to Netherform detonate over the... What are you doing? Is he just full debate? It's a full debate. He's got a
it's
water
a full
wall.
debate.
Oh my goodness, the jabation is out of control. I can't handle it. He's gonna die. Is Cause gonna die as well? Sure does look like it. Dragon's Breath from Lost Boy. Burn, baby, burn! I told you it was gonna be a fiery matchup here. And a Vanguard onto TiVo. Will slingshot TiVo back. TiVo's out of it. And at the end, they only lose 2, but that didn't feel real good, Scoundrel.
No, it did not. But that was an insane bait by Peko there. They're going to go straight up towards... Are they going to Black Claw, like, right now? Yeah, they are. The Dragon's Eye does come through for Peko. And like he said, it is that very split-push-orientated build. You saw him doing work to that turret up there. Damn, I'm impressed by Ferox. I think their draft was overall better, and they're executing very cleanly on it.
They definitely had a gimme for the first couple minutes of the game. Let us not forget I don't know what shaded. I was gonna say shaded talent giving them one, but of course he didn't mean to do that. Blacklaw down in the mid lane. Vision Gaming will go to work on it. Pretty decent damage coming out, but at the same time, Peko shows up, goes and slaps shaded talent, feeling fearful, throws the gauntlet down. Trying to do their best to take down this Blacklaw, but a lot of damage coming out on the Team Ferox. You got to be careful. Don't let this Scarf just kind of stack up on you. Get this damage down. It's too easy for him at this point. He's not feeling threatened, hanging out at range, and you just see Vision Gaming on the back foot.
Yeah, and they still have a fountain from Chamu to contend with. Chamu only used that Crucible to block the gauntlet coming out from Shaded Talent. However, looks like Vision are ready to go in. Cos tries to find that Impale, but I mean, Moschi is just very tanky now, having picked up a couple of those defensive items.
Dude, they could turn it and actually get... There's no fountain for Shaded Talent. Like, I feel like they could actually go in and kill them right now.
I mean, that could have been easily been a 2-3 versus 5. I think they're just playing it safer.
Breaking point, weapon buff. They had fountain. Like, I mean, whatever. Hey, they're gonna play it safe. They back up, show a little bit of mercy. Can't blame them. In the meantime, though, it was Peko and Lost Boy kind of pressuring top a little bit. They'll go ahead and take some of the resources off of the map while their allies capture up Ghostwing now down. Ghostwing dropping down low. PvP tries to get in and contest it. Won't be able to do so successfully. But now Team Ferox on the run. Can Vision Gaming find a catch? Where is their reach? They need an impale. They need some stuns. They need to bada boom into a taunt. But none of it is happening.
Oh man, this is it's looking pretty dire right now for Vision, if I'm completely honest. Like I said, they have a very clear spike, which really came off the back of a 2-item Rona and a tension bow into a Sword Blade for Lance, but they're hitting those spikes late for their composition. The Samuel build, oh wait a second, I have no idea what Peko's doing here, but he is going ham. He's out. I can't believe he's out, but regardless, going pretty ham there, teleports back towards his team, might even get involved in a fight over the other side.
What is actually going on right now? Pekko with the debate teleportation on in. PvP Warrior.
He gets the kill as well.
Down. I like. It's the next level play right now. You know, it's pretty hard to predict what may or may not happen next. As Team Ferox descend upon Vision Gaming, Cause able to deal with the little Githian wall, but Moji right back on in. This guy just slicing and dicing with that sword, having a good old time.
And I think the Samuel build, it's low damage, and it scales up, but it's very much there to facilitate the Rona specifically. This feels like a lot of the composition is built to try and help PvP Warrior on this Rona, but he's very far behind in terms of that breaking point. He needs to get that online. That is a core item for him to actually be able to be relevant in these team fights. And like I said, like once this gets later, you just don't beat a Kensei with a Lorelei specifically. And then you also, like we said, had that Scarf to deal with. I think this is a tough ask now for Vision to actually come out on top here.
Pekko found Neon Fire. Neon Fire will be forced back, but Papa John rotates around. I feel like if Pekko had stuck with him, that would be able to kill there, but not going to force it, not going to chase him down. They've got bigger fish to fry as Black Claw lands on the map. And with this, you got to wonder, do Vision Gaming start to contest some of these moves, especially the Black Claw take?
The thing is, like, you need that breaking point. Like for Rona, if you can't really fight, you just don't win fights without that breaking point.
Shaded Talent kind of got magnetized to the wall. Gauntlet's down, and they will find a stun into the impale, but Papa John actually doesn't care. This guy's incredibly tanky. They turned it around. Now Team Ferox running at Vision as they melt down. Lost Boy with the big Dragon's Breath burning through Vision Gaming. Shaded Talent, the only man alive, the tankiest one on this team. And with that, Team Ferox don't even need a Black Claw. They can take it if they want to. But with this, they'll just go ahead and push in top, even a little chip damage onto mid. This is looking pretty easy for Ferox here in game one.
I just think the draft, it feels like the Rona, not a great pick right now in the current meta. The Lance jungle is a really early game spiking hero that honestly you need to build kind of like half defensively and try and use a hyper carry to carry. But there isn't really a hyper carry for Vision. I think they're just going to straight up lose this.
Yep, sure does look that way. I mean, you got to realize there's an Aegis that's been completed as well. So choices were made, sacrificing damage for survivability. In the end, it does go the way of Ferox in a pretty convincing fashion. With that, let's go ahead and break this one down back over in Vegas at the desk.
What a phenomenal performance coming out from Team Ferox, and especially Pekko on the Reza, going with a completely different build to what we're used to, but showing that he knows the absolute limits of that hero.
Yeah, the split push oriented build. I mean, that's what he loves to do.
Yeah.
That's what the style he plays more often than not, but so impressive is the way he gets out of situations that he has no right to escape from constantly.
Yeah, like watching Pekko, I was on the edge of my seat. The one where he's like fighting them in the top lane, then teleports out into another fight, almost dies, gets it. It's like, what? Honestly, watching Pekko is like watching an action film. I feel like I was watching James Bond.
Yeah, it's really impressive stuff to watch, but also you gotta look at the rest of the team from Ferox as well. Lost Boy stepping on and playing the Scarf. That's a role that we are not familiar with Lost Boy playing. And he's able to have some huge dragon breaths in those team fights and just really kind of helped this team to get this victory before the Rona was able to get online.
I mean, we're used to seeing him play dinosaurs, just a different dinosaur. Let's see how these teams...
much larger one.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see how these teams manage to make it to this third place decider. Starting with Ferox. They had a default win to start off the tournament in the round of 16 against Minigunners, but then a really impressive 2-0 victory over Hammers in the quarterfinal. And then, unfortunately for them, losing out in the semi-finals to Tribe Gaming. They had a really good game too, but Tribe with a better team on the deck.
Yeah, it was a very close series for them. And again, probably one of the more difficult paths for a team to take, having to go through Hammers and then having to play Tribe. On the other side, Vision Gaming, they had a little bit of an easier road to get here. Obviously, the bye week in the playing round. Then they had 2-0 over Witch Doctor, the default win versus Jenners, and then the 2-1 loss to Nova Esports yesterday. dropping them down into the third place decider.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a gutting loss for them. But Nova did look like the better team. At the end of the day, the wins that Nova got were convincing. That has to be said. And when it came to the team fighting, Nova had their number. And now, going into the third place decider, it feels like Ferox has their number as well. This is a team that up until basically yesterday, we'd seen them doing a fantastic job of controlling the map. They look good in scrims as well. But now that they're against these top teams, they don't seem to be able to get a grip on what's...
It feels almost like they're trying to force them into, or force the
like they're
games
playing a different
into
style.
It's like they're trying to force picks that aren't necessarily fitting with the meta or their current regular play style. Like in this game, again, going for pretty much no hard, like pure carries.
I like it in theory. But you have to be ahead with the composition
when it works. It's good when it works, but when it's not working, that's something you have to draw attention to, because they are going away from the norm. They are going away from what everyone else is playing. But if it's not working, then you have to start wondering, there's a reason why everyone else is playing certain picks and certain compositions or banning certain heroes.
Do you know, when I saw the kind of full bruiser composition that we've just seen out of them, I thought this was like, maybe this is the Kensei counter. Maybe this is the way that the meta shifts moving forward. But unfortunately, it was not meant to be. Maybe we'll see similar compositions in the future, but definitely need to go back to the drawing board there.
I like the idea for trying to say, okay, this is what we think is the counter for Kensei. But again, they didn't have any damage themselves, and that ends up being a problem in those team fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ferox, I mean, we can't praise them enough. Fantastic game from them. Early aggression as well. We said the composition, especially when you've got a Fortress in your lineup, you want to push the advantage early. You want to be aggressive. That's exactly what they did. They had 5 kills before 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I also really like the fact that when they started to lose out on those trades, when members of Vision were finding those kills, they took the foot off the pedal a bit. They backed up a bit and said, okay, we got our early kills. We got the gold that we wanted early on. Now let's reel it in a little bit and wait until we're comfortable to go in for another fight. And it worked out excellently for them.
This ban list so far is feeling a lot like week 2 of the VPL right now. They're just banning the new heroes. Churnwalker will be taken off the board, which means Kinetic is available. And Ferox looked like they were just waiting for that to slip through.
Yeah, they were absolutely ready for this Kinetic pick. And now let's see what Vision are going to answer with. I really want to see them get a little bit more of that kind of meta composition. Go for a dive assassin type hero and then build the rest of your composition around that. That's what a lot of teams have been doing over the past week or two, and it's been working for a lot of these top teams. You do say they are going to go for the Finn this time around. A little interesting that's their first pick, considering there hasn't been priority put onto Finn in the past couple of weeks, but then they grabbed the Samuel. That's obviously a very meta pick. But we'll see what they can do as far as assassins, because the Reza just got scooped up by the side of Ferox.
I'm wondering where the Grumpjaw is in this draft. It wasn't in game 1 either. Like, Grumpjaw is incredibly strong right now, especially when it comes to fighting for the early game, that was the story of game number 1. Neither team seems to be willing to pick it up. I'm not 100% sure why, but Tony going to be locked in here alongside the Finn and the Samuel. So we still need a weapon power carry, and then there's kind of that last role that you can sort of flex around a little bit.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see where they do want to go with this. I would like to see them, like I said, go for a traditional range carry. I'd love to see Gwen. I mean, PvP Warrior plays a phenomenal Gwen, and he's only shown it off like once this entire tournament and hasn't touched it again. He's gonna go for the Baron, so it's a bit riskier in terms of needing a lot more items to come online. But when it does come online, the effectiveness is through the roof.
I mean, when you look at the composition right now for Vision, they have a lot of AoE, they have a lot of cleave, and then they have a lot of peel. So this is very much, let's try and survive to the late game and win out the team fight. This is the kind of composition I was expecting to see out of Ferox, honestly, coming into this series. On the other side, though, once again the Reza comes in. Idris this time comes in. They've got a Grace to help them out. They've got a Lance to engage with. This is, once again, an aggressive composition coming out from Ferox.
I'm curious to see where these heroes end up, because right now they have Pekko on the Lance. It's not really what he's been playing. I was expecting him to be on either Reza or Idris, but they might just be shaking things up a bit here and going for a little different. It's going to be a Fortress to round out the composition for the side of Vision. I like the Fortress pairing with a Finn because you give him that little bit of extra movement speed that Finn desperately needs to be able to stay in a team fight that's not in the river.
Also, it gives you a little bit of early game presence as well. Helps you get to that late game stage with the Baron. But honestly, the side of Ferox, I'm liking their composition. I wouldn't say it's a typical composition. It doesn't, like, honestly, these drafts haven't felt overly meta, like Grumjaw, for example, just slipping through, but I think that they can pull it off. I think with the performance they had in game number 1, they can play aggressive and they can make these picks work.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how Peko plays this Lance. That's the kind of only hesitation I have with their composition because Peko's playstyle is so aggressive and these split pushers using these high mobility heroes like the Idris or the Reza to dance around his opponents. So it's going to be an interesting play style for him.
It certainly is. It's time to get on into game number 2 and see if Ferox can push this to a victory or if we're going to see a comeback from Vision Gaming. It's time to pass it over once again to Humanist and Scoundrel to take away game number 2.
Welcome to game 2 in this third place matchup where we find ourselves with Team Ferox up 1-0. The question is, can Vision Gaming come back in this series? I'm Humanist. I'm joined by Scoundrel once again, and we're ready to get this underway.
Another late game scaling composition coming out from Ferox, but it looks like Vision have actually answered with some scaling of their own. Baron is very strong on this current update. They also have the Samuel to follow him up as well. That is all of their damage, though, realistically. You're going to have a little bit coming from Tony, a little bit coming... Oh, my baby!
Oh, that's how you start a game! They got the pain train rolling right here. Team Ferox got me going.
That was a bait and a half, mate, rated 8 out of 8. That was incredible,
Reed. $500 right here, my man.
I know that is that is Humanist, I love you. That was a very, very, very good read, I think, on the invade on the CP buff. I think they just knew naturally that the CP buff invade was a very common early practice, and they waited, set up with the Lance, one of the best heroes to play with early game invades, and obviously looking incredible so far. I'm looking towards Papa John here. I'm wondering whether he's going to follow in suit with his interesting builds from the Reza. I'm not saying it's bad because it worked, but it definitely felt like it took a while to come online.
I will say it's not as good as some things I've seen in the past. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yes, I still think Aftershock is the superior item. Just because I'm not going to. Oh my god! I think that was a steal by Neon Fire there.
That was a nice steal. This is 3 heroes down here from Ferox, so a great job by Neon Fire to waste a bit of their time. You can tell he's thinking about going in for more with that Jawbreaker potentially. It's actually quite easy to kind of jump in and steal some of those camps away. Great hero to do so.
Yeah, really high burst damage on Jawbreaker. It was nerfed on the last update though, which I think rightfully so. Previously, Jawbreaker did inordinate amount of damage for an ability attached to a basic attack, but regardless. Yeah, I think what was I saying about the yeah, I just think I'm not doing results-based analysis here. I think Aftershock is the strictly superior item on Reza. Just because he won with the alternating current doesn't make it a good item on him. Having a look at Mozji though, he's gone for the 6 crystal bit. I think that automatically activates his perk, so now he can start to use those ranged basic attacks. And crystal bits are the most bang for your buck in terms of crystal output for gold expenditure. So she'll actually be hitting quite hard now, Humanist, with that 6 crystal bit in his inventory.
How does he lane? I mean, it's obviously a lot easier from range, but he doesn't lane too well against Samuel, does he?
No, not really. But as soon as the one in the wait a second. Just want to make sure there wasn't a big fight going to open up here. Maybe it will though.
You're such a gentleman of a color caster. PvP warrior just gets destroyed, and right back to you, Scoundrel.
Right back to the Scoundrel. Yeah, so basically one of the main reasons that the Idris usually struggles against a Samuel in lane is because of that range discrepancy. You don't activate your perk, usually until your first tier 3 item buy. Not many people do this 6 crystal bit tactic, simply because slot efficiency wise, you can't get boots, you can't get any other useful items that you might want in the early game that will keep you safe. But in 5v5, in the mid lane, the shorter lane where you usually have the support of your captain, you don't often need boots as much because the mid lane isn't going to be ganked as heavily compared to the top and bot lanes, and therefore it makes Crystal Bits, the 6 Crystal Bit tactic, a bit easier and alleviates those poor matchups for you against other ranged heroes.
Currently just rotating through the jungle with the Reza. Nice, efficient job, not putting himself in harm's way. It's efficient. I like it. The rest of Ferox find themselves down and bottom, kind of going toe-to-toe with Cause and Neon Fire. Essentially just farming out, shoving the lane forward. Now Rock Bomber can go ahead and drop into his own jungle where he has his weapon camp spawning very shortly. I don't know if he'll go ahead and wait for anybody to split that down. TiVo! He's down in the mid lane. Moshi and Chamu able to go ahead and take him down, and that's a bit of a surprise kill. TiVo opting to go for no boots as well. Maybe a bit of a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, but also just you got to respect the Idris damage when he has a CP buff plus this heavy Crystal Bit investment. It spikes a lot earlier than you'd expect, and just because it's CP Idris doesn't mean that he can't hit hard when he gets that perk activated. And yeah, very impressed with Mozg so far in this mid lane. He's given himself a 3-kill advantage, and as a CP Idris, you do not want to see that because it is something that scales as well as a Baron into the late game.
Yeah, no, this is going to be pretty scary, and honestly, this is a hero that, if he's having a decent game, can make this Finn feel rather squishy when he starts to stack up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Finn is a perfect target for stacking CP carries because he is such a large model, means the Chakram's more likely to hit. Also, a fairly slow hero on the Sovereign's Rise as well, so it makes it easier as well if you end up having some sort of slowing in your kit. You might have a Frostburn added there. A lot of CP Idrises used to go for that Frostburn. Wait a second, though.
This seems sketchy. Ferox dropping low. Moshi able to reposition with the Shimmer Strike out to jump back in. Petko trying to lock somebody down. Neon Fire and Shaded Talent are low. Vision Gaming, can they get in? They're not going to contest this. This is going Weapon Treant over to Ferox. Another successful invade as they had 5 clumped up. TiVo's going to try and drop back in that Drifting Dark, and they will grab the Gold Oak, but they lose Cause for their troubles. Probably worth it right there, especially because you have all 5 of Ferox.
Yeah, Ferox again. I mean, with the later game scaling composition and the ones at 5-0 right now in 6 minutes into the game, and I look at it towards the draft of Vision Gaming again, and you say, well, okay, I kind of understand the Finn, but you don't really have much protection with the Baron. There's no one there that really facilitates him like an Arden or a Grace. Both of those, well, Arden doesn't feature and Grace is over on the side of Ferox. I mean, it's not a great Baron composition if you sort of look at it that way. The only other way to look at it is the fact that you've got a Tony and a Fortress who will absorb attention on the front line, and then Baron should be left untouched that way. But realistically, it's kind of just Baron shoved in a random composition, really.
I mean, at some point, you get into a situation and you got to talk to the player, and you're like, what can we pick for you to carry this game? And odds are, this is what he wanted, so you go with what the player wants.
It's not a bad pick to carry a game, to be honest, you know, as a Baron, but you need to start funneling gold onto him, and he's had a pretty tough time in the laning phase so far at 0-2. However, has picked up that Serpent's Mask, which is a minor item spike for him, but Baron really needs 3 to 4 items to start to function. This is really not going to do him much. He's not going to be hitting hard. And this point at this point in the game, Aftershock, you've got a lot of gold on your CP Idris, who's now picked up his alternating current as well. These are item spikes that are tangible and have massive impact in terms of their output in team fights. You don't get that from a Baron with just the 1 item in the Serpent's Mask.
Ferox take 4 heroes and move down to grab that Ghost Swing. They will do so successfully. And this means, though, that Pekka was able to push PvP Warrior and Cause off of the turret push in top. So an inefficient trade once again. They're going to pull up for the healing Treant here. Shaded Talon makes his way down. Weapon Treant spawning right now, but Ferox are in position. They have this Ghost Wing buff stun up onto Cause. Cause not going to be able to get himself out of here. He will go down very shortly. No, the heal's keeping him alive for now. They turn it around. They take down Papa John. It's a disaster at this point for Ferox. Look at the Baron actually getting some damage, but here comes Moji right over the top with this Idris dancing through with nice damage. Can they lock him down? Or
he's going mental!
Able to get a quadra kill for his troubles. Neon Fire with the bada boom will keep him alive. Ferox turned that, that was turned around onto Ferox, and Ferox turned it right back around to Vision.
They know absolutely how to push an advantage. Every time one of the enemy buffs is up, they are there rotating into the jungle looking for a fight. They know they are stronger than Vision right now. They know they are looking to take those fights and try and push a mid-game gold advantage in their favor, as well as denying resources from their opponents. They look for the fights. Unfortunately, Vision can't respond. Even when it looked like Vision had taken the upper hand at the start of that team fight, the CP Idris hadn't even got involved yet, and he then came in and got that quadra kill. So I mean, this is all bells and whistles right now for Team Ferox, but it is emergency bells for Vision Gaming.
The emergency bells. I didn't even know maybe bells a long time ago were used in emergency situations, but we're in the future
still have
now.
emergency. We have emergency bells in England. What are you talking about?
Do you? We have sirens here. So
no, it's all about we send out a guy when there's a fire to the middle of the town, and he rings the bell near the well, and then we hoist up some water from the well.
Could climb a tall ladder to make sure that the sound travels further as Papa John climbs into the top lane of the map to try and defend some of the pressure coming out of Cause and PvP Warrior. Once again, you guys, you're 2v1, like, they're not pushing fast enough. This seems sketchy. PvP is going to try to trade, but Mochi's here. Look at that. 1-2 basic attacks. You're done. You're done. Roasted and toasted. That's what's for dinner. A little bit of Baron.
7-1 CP Idris right now. No need for defensive items because he's not been threatened by this Samuel at any point in the game. Very happy to invest all of it back into CP, and he's picked up some tier 2 boots as well to help his mobility. No one there to contest the weapon power buff, and this is a ranged CP Idris with both a CP and weapon power buff. It's probably one of the scariest sights that you can ever see in VG, and Mozji is, well, certainly performing with it.
I mean, at least he's only level 9, right? So he's higher level than everybody on their team. Wait, that's not good either. So yeah, everything's looking pretty good for Team Ferox. 10.5 minutes in, about a kill a minute at this point. Significant net worth advantage. Already up 1 game in the series. This is something to call home about.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, 3rd place is on the line, and the difference between 3rd place and 4th place, 4th place, you get diddly squat. 3rd place, you actually get a bit of cash in your back pocket in the form of $500. So it looks like Team Ferox are the ones that are gearing up for this, so a big fight breaks out.
Yeah, this is actually looking decent for Vision as this fight starts off. Remember, Moshi's up in top, so he's going to split push like a monster, though. Vision Gaming able to find 1 kill. They really need to go for more. This is a huge opening for them. There you go. They mark the target, jump on to Grace, find the kill. Breaking point will be picked up now for the Baron. A nice power spike for him. Straight over to Ghostwing, but look up the top. This is turret down. Now Mochi will be on to the base turret, and down at bottom, Pekko on the bottom base turret as well. Cause has made his rotation up the top, but this is a level 8 Fortress to a level 10 Idris, and he's by himself. Ghostwing's captured. Now Vision Gaming, what do you do? What is the play here?
Well, I think they have to back off to respond to Mozji. Mozji realizes that he can't see anybody on the map from Vision now, so he's going to take that space and back off. But overall, it was a decent trade for Ferox. I think they realized Vision that they can make an engage, knowing that the strongest member is on the top side of the map with no way to get down because he didn't have the teleport boots. But overall, it was a good response from Ferox. They definitely didn't win that team fight around the Ghost Wing, and they obviously lost a major objective in the form of Ghostwing. But realistically, to get something on the map was a good trade overall. But got to praise Vision as well here, Humanist, being proactive, realizing that this is a good way to find themselves back with some gold in their back pockets, and coming away with a win in that team fight was giving them a much needed boon in a game that was definitely going against them.
PvP Warrior suddenly in a place where he can actually fight. I'd love to see him pick up a minion's foot, so if they get into the next engage, he's going to get that guaranteed crit to start off. Means he's going to get a couple breaking point stacks to start off for sure. Still has to play it cautiously, very careful, because Ferox are incredibly strong at this point. But this guy is capable of trading some blows right now. I
mean, yes, for sure. I mean, he needs time though. Breaking point Baron is something that worked really well with Critical Strike because you'd instantly build a crud ton of stacks. But with just a Surface Mass behind you, that's going to take a while to stack up in the fights.
A nice block on the Forced Accord. Attack of the Pack is out. They're on to Lance. Lance looks like he's going to stay alive through this. Divine Intervention helped keep him alive for a little while. Actually, Vision Gaming take him down. They switch on over. They find Mochi. Mochi doesn't have any defense. Papa John jumps in, trying to disrupt the fight. Back over onto the Idris. You guys need to focus the damage down. Neon Fire tanking as much as he can. Will it be enough time? PvP Warrior jump jetting backwards. They don't find the Idris. What is going on? Vision Gaming not able to capitalize on a great start, and Mosji just breaking their ankles.
I feel like that was a mistake from PvP Warrior. I definitely felt like there was cause to make an aggressive jump just to land 2 basic attacks on to Mosji, because he was that close to death in that team fight. I don't feel like you needed to be that scared as PvP Warrior. Once you kill Mosji, that is pretty much the majority of the damage out the window. You just saw Papa John expend his ultimate and a couple of dashes to get out of the fight. A lot of ways that you can get punished was down. Already down. I feel like he could have been more aggressive there, but I mean, all credit, again, perfectly timed ultimate from Mosji to keep him safe.
Yep, indeed. Mosji, you got to give the guy credit for making these plays. He started strong, and he's playing through this mid game incredibly strong as well. Now, Blacklaw is going to be marching down the lane against Vision. Maybe Team Ferox overstepped himself, and Vision finds something that they can punish here. Papa John's in. He's on the Shaded Talent, chunking through this. Finn doesn't even look like he's tanky at all. Nice peel by Peko. Forced to court M. They're under the turret now, but they're also onto some of the key targets for Vision Gaming. Vision Gaming turning around. They take down the Reza. Finn will drop. Double kill coming in here for the Idris one more time. Mosji, can he buy enough time with a Shimmer Strike? Yes, he can. Finds himself
He's got a
quadra kill. TiVo trying to kite back in the Drifting Dark. Get you some Kinetic right there. In fact, Kinetic almost dropping TiVo down. TiVo, bless your lucky stars, will stay alive. And look at the health bars on Ferox over here. There's no care in the world. If you got 1 HP, you're alive.
Oh, that was... I feel like they could have got the ace there, by the way, Humanist, and that might give them the option to potentially finish this game. But I kind of felt that Rock was trying to donate the Penta over to Mosji, but Mosji didn't have the dash to get over the wall. So I feel like it was a tiny, tiny attempted gift, but unfortunately meant that they didn't have that ace to reset their health bars, and that could have given them the option to push through for the win. But right now, it's enough. With the Black Claw pushing down onto this armory, I do think Vision have actually stopped the armory going down, which they have, but they are not in a great position to try and defend from here. There's a lot of open space in their base. 2 choke point turrets have ended up going down, which means there's a lot more free maneuverability now for the very mobile team of Team Ferox.
What's also rough, and I don't personally agree with, but we'll see how it's going to go ahead and work out, is the PvP looks like he's going for a Slumbering Husk. That means that that's got to get completed before he's picking up any more damage items, and that's going to fully set him back. He's also going to make sure that he has a fresh infusion as well. So honestly, he might not get another weapon item for like 5 minutes.
And that doesn't bode well for their late game power output. I mean, the Slumbering Husk makes sense, but I actually don't think he's being targeted too heavily in these fights. I think what is happening for the most part is we're getting quite elongated fights that's allowing this Idris to stack up with the Dragon's Eye. I agree with you. I don't think it's completely necessary right now. He's not getting caught out that much. He's kind of the last one to die in most of these fights, Humanist.
Well, TiVo tried to take that away from him in the last one, did so successfully. We'll see if PvP can do something here. Need to have some big plays. Cause he's just the disruptive force, marking targets, trying to get a little burst damage out, and get some bleed onto these key targets. Shaded Talent. He did land that Force Accord in the last engagement, but it still didn't go well for Vision Gaming. It's just, it feels so hard for them to be in a position where they could take one of these fights.
So Vision now, I mean, let's talk about what they can do to try and bring themselves back in. They've got a great front line. We definitely need to buy some more time for PvP Warrior. He's going to need at least 3 items, I think, to be relevant here in these fights. Samuel as well. He needs a Dragon's Eye, I think, to compete. I think he needs TiVo needs a Dragon's Eye to compete with the way that these fights end up going. Right now, it's a fairly low damage output build from him, and he's not really facing that much shielding to be able to have to rip through with that Broken Myth. I might actually say that there's actually a Slumbering Husk on Mosji, but otherwise, you know, Papa John, the guy that's threatening him directly, not much shielding there. You can see he took a bit of a chunk there just from one of his A's.
Okay, easy call by Ferox to move in and take this armory down. One more attack, they should be able to easily do it. And with this, do they get out? Shaded Talent. Do you go in for the engage? A little bit sketchy here. Ferox, it feels almost like a debate. They take a bit of damage, but we know this team is super strong right now. Peko isolated from his team, but he loops back around, little ring around the Rosie. They turn it. Nobody will be impaled just yet. PvP Warrior jump jetting into a better position. Holy Nova will not connect. It's both teams trading blows, looking for the opening. Nice pull over the wall to isolate the Grace. Chop her down, exactly what you needed. I mean, sometimes you don't need to be pulling 2, 3, 4 heroes, and you just grab one target and go ahead and destroy them. Mosji is low. This is the mark from Cause. They have the movement speed. Careful, buddy. Chakram flies. That would be a disaster if Mochi was able to find a kill, but he will not. That's 2 kills going the way of Vision Gaming. And they may be able to find a T1 on this. No, they go straight to Blacklaw. Of course they will. Honestly, they're so far behind, it feels like this could actually be contested.
Potentially, but you can see Rock Bobber backing off here. He's actually only got 2 items on this weapon power kinetic. He has not gone for a 3rd item soon. He's actually invested heavily into what is defense and also teleport boots, potentially teleport boots for map pressure. In fact, there's teleport boots on everybody. There's teleport boots on Chamu, Peko, Papa, Rock Bomber, and I can only imagine that Mozji will upgrade to a set of teleport boots himself as well. Are they looking for some sort of crazy all-in with
I sure hope so.
Yeah, I mean that could very potentially be a real possibility.
You play it, all right? Can we make that agreement?
If you want me to.
Yeah, man, for sure. I would love to see like Scoundrel unleashed upon a map's teleport for the end in the 3rd place matchup to end things out. Or yeah, something like that. Vision Gaming, they're just gonna hang back. They don't even want to get in range. They're like, okay, Blacklaw.
Oh, wait a second.
Take the T1.
Lance, yeah, here we go. This is it. They're actually doing it.
Are they really going for this? You gotta. They're coming in 1 by 1 right now. This doesn't look very good for Ferox, but maybe they know something I don't know. Where are you at, PvP? Is he stacking up the breaking point? Yes, he is. About 10 right now. 8 breaking point stacks. Keep it on the key targets. Moshi's low. Chamo as well. Chamo will fall. There's the jump in from Cause. He's marked his target. They got the light still. They have the movement speed. Peko left for dead on the back of the fight. Tivo the only one to go down for Vision Gaming. And in fact, if Cause continues, no, his team's kind of far back there. Cause can continue to chase Papa John pretty easily though.
Yeah, Papa John will have the resets on his dash, though he should be able to get away from Cos at this point in time, especially going over things like those walls. That was so telegraphed. It was so telegraphed from Ferox. I love the way they tried to end that in style. Lance goes over, slams down a Vision, a scout cam, and then everybody teleports to it. But I mean, you could see that Vision were ready for it.
You called it out. I was like, wait, okay, so Pekko's, are they all really? Yeah, they're all really going. I was so amused, I forgot about our deal to let you play it.
It's all right, mate. I think better you take it. If it happens again, we'll be ready for the next one if it happens again. You can actually
That's what
see
I say
that
when someone comes into my lane and takes the last hit.
By the way, they have sold their teleport boots and invested in real boots. Not that teleport boots aren't real boots; they're very good. But you can see Chamu, who's gone for war treads, and I think Mozji is now going to work towards a pair of journey boots. The problem with the teleport boots is that it's great for a play like that if it works, but it severely limits your team fighting potential, especially on such mobile carries like Idris. You really need that extra movement speed sometimes to help keep you safe or get into a better position.
So PvP goes for his 2nd full defense item. Talk to me. Is Peko dead? Sure looks like it. I don't see him getting out of this one. No one's going to be in time to save him. This is a free kill for Vision. Oh, is it? Oh, look at the rest of the team. The rest of the team, they're over the wall. Papa John and Rob.
Pekka's still alive.
Oh my gosh, it's like these guys are playing in Worlds 2018. 5,000 IQ plays they're on. You can't stop Papa John when it's time to deliver a 3rd place victory. What a play.
Holy moly, Peko, the 0-3 MVP, drew the entire Vision Gaming roster to deal with a Lance with a Storm Crown. They were like, oh, that's a threat. That's a threat. They've already taken down the armory in that lane, but we better 5-man him. And the rest of Ferox barreled down the open mid lane. That was insane. Incredible game presence to do that. I mean, they were winning from the get-go. A couple of awkward throws here or there, but that was awesome.
The perfect end to a amazing series coming out of Ferox. With that, let's throw it back over to the analyst desk.
Oh my goodness, Ferox have done it. They are going to be finishing the tournament in 3rd place in the end. What a fantastic performance. And what a way to end it as well.
The full team teleport to take down the 2nd armory to weaken the Vein Crystal so that they could then run a distraction with Peko and run the whole team in. Mwah, beautiful.
Honestly,
Beautiful shot calling
Vision-
from Ferox.
Vision must feel absolutely robbed right now because they were winning the fights. They were coming back, but it was just too late. And literally everyone on the team bought teleport boots. That's a big investment, but I mean, it's an investment that worked out in the end.
Yeah, and we heard the casters, you heard Human saying, and Excalibur both saying that now when it comes to a team fight, you're not going to have the extra utility of your boots. They say, that's because we're not going to have another team fight.
Yep.
What a shot. Like, the guts to make a call like that, to say, you know what, let's just send Peko on a just distraction mission and then rush everyone into the base.
And
oh my
the thing
goodness.
is as well, it's such a good distraction because Peko regularly does go off on his own and split push. That
Yeah.
is a thing that Peko regularly does.
He
so
set up that full team
Exactly.
teleport. Like,
he's been playing the split push style for the last year just
the
to set
long
up this
game.
single play.
Playing the long con.
But honestly, phenomenal stuff from Ferox and great presence of mind to pull off a play like that. They are the deserved third place team at the end of our VPL summer over. I cannot believe the way that they just did that. Vision, unfortunately, going to be going home with nothing this time, but I'm sure they'll be back in the Autumn Open. With that said, it's about time that we move on with our day because we have a championship match to get to. But before we get there, let's have a quick word from Razor. We are broadcasting to you guys live from the Las Vegas Strip here in Nevada. We're broadcasting from the PokerGo studio in the Aria Resort and Casino. And we have just one series remaining for you guys in the Vainglory Premier League Summer Open. It's time to get into our championship. Let me explain the tournament for you guys in our PokerGo format. This has been a single elimination best of 3 tournament to make it to the grand finals, to make it to the championship game. We only have that game remaining.
Yeah, just one best of 3 remaining. 2 losses, or 2 wins rather, and you will get yourself $3,000 for the first place finish. Second place, obviously, $1,500. And we just saw the side of Team Ferox secure $500.
Yeah, absolutely. And that $3,000 is going to be up for grabs. And it's Tribe and Nova that are going to be battling it out to try and steal away that prize from one another. Double for first place. And honestly, I couldn't have picked 2 better teams in North America to go into this championship game. Honestly, these 2 teams, it's very difficult to call. I've gone for Tribe, you've gone for Nova, but honestly, either one, I wouldn't be surprised to see take the win.
Yeah, I would not be surprised with either of these teams coming out on top. And obviously, Tribe is going to be a little bit of a favorite. You see our head-to-head matchup for the championship presented by PlayVig. And again, either of these 2 could come out on top because Nova, we know, is a team that can take games from Tribe.
They certainly can, and we'll see if that's going to happen here today. Now, speaking of Nova, we were talking to Les Spectors, the coach, coming on into this tournament to see what Nova's view of the VPL is in our Razor phone.
What I believe makes our team the strongest in North America is, I think it goes without saying that we're incredibly mechanically skilled, our players. But our team's ability to communicate in hectic team fights and making rotations across the map is so high that I believe that is what makes us the best team in North America. Winning this tournament will mean a lot to us because Nova as a franchise has never gotten first place in anything, and that was what I aimed to change when I joined this team. So it'll really mean that we're actually the best in North America, like we've had in us this whole time.
We can take a look at the roster for Nova. They're wanting to win the first tournament ever for Nova. This is a big deal for these guys. Delphi starting all over, Truth, Eco, and Erica Kane. Yesterday we saw Ediol subbing in as well. He had a stalwart performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And it wouldn't just be the first win for Nova. A lot of these players have not gotten a championship victory under their belts yet either. But a team that has championship pedigree is going to be Tribe Gaming with Chuck, Max Green, Old School, Gabe Vizzle, and I Love Joseph. Every single one of these players has experience of winning the big one.
Yeah, when you think back to 3v3, you think of TSM, you think of Tribe, and you think of Cloud9. Those 3 forces combined to make this super team. Tribe, this is what it's all been leading up to. I remember the roster announcement 6 months ago now, and they're finally here in a championship match to see if they can prove their worth.
Yeah, absolutely. And these two teams, again, going toe-to-toe, there's a lot of similarities between them. There's also a lot of pretty big differences between these two. And so much of it is going to rely, I feel like, on who gets the early lead. Because they are both very snowball-heavy teams. And in the sense that once they have a lead, they are so good at just building and compounding on that lead, like the snowball running down the mountain and just gathering more and more as it continues on its way.
I actually disagree a little bit with you on this one, because I feel like what we've seen out of these two teams, first of all, Tribe play an immaculate game. You're absolutely right. They will not give up a lead if they get it. But Nova, we've seen a more kind of safer game style out of them yesterday. In one of the games, they took a while before they actually went and forced any. It was like 8 minutes before there were any kills in one of the games against Vision. So maybe in game one, I think we could see a very slow early game, very slow start to things. No kills before sort of 10 minutes, and then we get into a team fight phase.
Even if that does happen, though, it's still very much whoever wins that first one will then have that momentum to continue building. It's so much of a team snowballing out of control does start in the early game, but it doesn't really matter where it starts. It's really just once they start to get that lead, they just never look back.
Yeah, I think both teams are going to be able to hold it onto a lead with a vice-like grip. Let's take a look at some factoids about these two teams as we head towards our championship game. Tribe, so far, have not lost a single game since preseason. That is a huge statement to make coming on into the championship game. And both orgs, obviously veterans within Vainglory. If you guys have been in Vainglory for a long time, you know these two orgs. But Nova, they're going to be coming in strong. They're going to be coming in hot, and they're going to be coming in to prove themselves.
Yeah, and we've talked about it a little bit, but in the preseason, it was Nova that came out on top over Tribe with a head-to-head victory as well. You can see it on the stats by the numbers. It's very similar for these two teams. Actually, advantages for Nova in eliminations and turrets, and that gold. That's about as close as you can possibly get over the course of a game, let alone a gold per minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually had Viziox from Tribe message me last night to tell me off for my stats, because he was like, we have low turrets because we only push one lane. When we get a lead in the mid lane, we just plow through and end the game. I was like, fair enough, man. But definitely, just because you have against weaker teams does not mean that you can against every single team. We'll see if that's something that they can pull off against Nova. We're underway for our first game here in our championship match. It's Tribe against Nova Esports. Honestly, this could well be the series of the entire tournament, both in NA and in EU. We've had some awesome series.
It's got some competition for that, but we'll have to see how it plays out. The thing I want to see is Nova. They have been a team that has been known to not ban this Kensei, not prioritize this Kensei.
They've changed things up.
Yeah, they know for a fact that Tribe love this Kensei and are very good with it.
I really, really like the Grumpjaw ban as well, because Nova have been relying on that Grumpjaw. It's been kind of a crutch for them in some ways, not in that they need it, but we haven't really seen them without it, honestly. They keep on locking it in.
Well, they are also a team, starting Alover was one of these players that is known for, if they're going to let it through, why would I not play it type of situation. So it's one of those things where if teams, they love this Grumpjaw pick, and if teams are not going to take it away, they're just going to keep playing it. So they are a team that gets into kind of that rhythm of just playing a few set heroes every single time. Tony is another one of these heroes that they play almost every time that it's available. I would go ahead and lock it in right away.
Yeah, absolutely, and unsurprising lock in there as well. I would love to see something like a Fortress locked in early. It's something that's fell out of favor a little bit, but honestly, still incredibly strong with things like the Churnwalker and Grumpjaw banned away. It's one of the best early game heroes that you can have in the jungle or in the captain role. They're actually going to lock in Finn very early in the draft.
Yeah, a little bit surprising to see it this early, but we did see it very early last series as well. And I think the Fortress works really well with the Finn because of just giving the extra movement speed. You mentioned the early game pressure, but also then when you have a weapon carry, which it feels like they're likely to end up going towards one of those hyper carry weapon heroes. That's just their style that they've played all along. You give them that extra lifesteal potentially as well, depending on how you level up the abilities.
Absolutely. You expect them to go with something like a Baron, honestly. Truth has played it a whole bunch. Kinetic is already locked in for the side of the Tribe, so they're not going to pick up Baron unless they follow PT Lamb's legacy and go with the CP Baron. You expect Truth to go with the Baron in this matchup.
The CP Baron is something that hasn't quite
honestly,
made its way
Baron
over
Celeste.
to North America. It hasn't really made its way outside of PT Lamb, but
When you look at what Nova has been playing recently, and when you look at what they've drafted right here, Baron Celeste just makes sense for them.
absolutely.
Maybe go with we've seen them go with a third sort of utility or a third carry. We'll see which direction they go with that one, but Baron Celeste just makes complete sense. And honestly, there's not that much dive on the side of Tribe right now. It's going to be kind of difficult to get to that backline.
Yeah, obviously they still have 2 picks left to go for those dive heroes, but we'll see. I think the Celeste would be a safe pick here but at the same time, they're probably feeling comfortable knowing that it's not likely to get picked up. They actually choose the Scarf instead. And it's kind of interesting because we were talking before the matches at all started today. We said it's been really surprising that Scarf hasn't been seen that much. And now all of a sudden, these last 2 series, both of them have had Scarf.
Honestly, I think one of the reasons we've seen less Scarf is things like Flicker in the meta. There's been so many big bruisers in the meta, but when you've already got Finn and Tony on your side, they've got an Arden, they've got a Lance, they will be able to body block somewhat, but nothing like a Finn can, nothing like a Flicker can, because they just get pure tank mode. Then again, Flicker could still be locked in here. I was expecting sort of a third carry role here coming out from Tribe, but it looks like they might go utility.
Arden or Lance could both also go in the carry-oriented builds. So
you are still a utility pick, really, at its core.
Ultimately, yes, but it is going to be that Flicker, so very, very tanky frontline in response to the Scarf. So I like the fact that they went for the Flicker after saying, okay, they took Scarf, let's get these heroes that can body block, let's just make sure we fill out with these big, tanky frontline bruisers. And now for the side of Nova, do they want the carry? They do. They get the assassin in
I was hoping for this. I was hoping for this because this means that we have one team going with a more utility-focused lineup and one team going with the more aggression. And believe it or not, it's going to be Nova going aggressive. Who would have thought it? That's so unlike them.
So surprising. Yeah. I wouldn't have thought that Nova would play an aggressive composition.
Absolutely.
But I love their aggressive compositions because Scoundrel described it earlier as the escalating composition, where you have that early game presence that can then become this massive late game force. And that's exactly the way that they play the game.
Absolutely. Now, Nova have never won a championship. Tribe, the current reigning world champions. This is a true matchup for the ages. I'm expecting this to go the full 3 games. We'll have to see which one's going to come out on top, though. It's time to get on into our championship match for the VPL Summer Open North America. It's Tribe going up against Nova for the title of the best team in North America.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Game 1 of the VPL Summer Open North American Championship. My name is Humanist. I'm joined once again by the ever-lovely Scoundrel. Scoundrel, we have 2 of the best teams in the world ready to duke it out.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be probably the best matchup that you'll see across the entire weekend. 2 incredible North American teams, Tribe and Nova. Nova, a very, very mechanical, prowess-orientated team, and you've got some incredible players like Truth, starting all over Delphi, young players who are known for their mechanical god skills. And then you have a very polished team in the form of Tribe, and actually you can see Chuck, ex-TSM player, now playing on Tribe, subbing in for Zio.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see Chuck coming in for the squad. I saw Zio lurking in chat. I'm pretty sure it was Zio lurking around. I'm sure he's interested to see how this is going to go ahead and work out here today. But the way you describe these teams, do you kind of see Nova as just like more mechanically skilled, but the stronger team is Tribe?
I think it's difficult to say that they are significantly more mechanically skilled, but it's kind of what Starting and Truth were known for. You know, they just were some of the best mechanical players in North America. I mean, Starting had one of the best Ringos for a reason that his stutter step was, probably the best Ringo stutter step I've ever seen.
Dude, give me some Ringo in my life.
I know, dude, I know. But it's more that Tribe are just, very polished in terms of their overall map play. I would argue that Starting and Truth are probably more mechanically skilled than someone like Chuck, for instance. But I would say Max is up there as one of the most mechanically skilled players in North America as well.
For sure. I think it's a hard argument to make. It's more like these players had the style of making these solo and individual plays. And we'll find out here by the end of today who is the better player, or who are the better players, who is the better team overall. If you had to make a prediction for this series coming into it, which way would you lean?
That's so tough. I don't know. I think Tribe without Zeo is definitely a tribe that is weaker. I actually probably would go against the grain. I would probably be saying 2-1 Nova.
Interesting. And
What about you? What about you, Humanist? What would you vote?
honestly, I think it's 50-50. I think it's right down the middle. This is a really hard one to call here. If
that's
I had
why
to go 51-49, I'd go to Tribe.
Oh, okay, it's nice to have that bit of dichotomy, you know. But yeah, I think overall both of these teams are incredible. There's not much between them. I just have a funny feeling. You know, when you just got a funny feeling about something, you know.
Oh, I know all about that funny feeling, but we'll talk about that after broadcast as Eco's getting melted down. Nice Githian wall to peel. First blood, double blood, going over to Tribe.
Damn, well maybe I was wrong. Tribe definitely looking good right now.
You're dead wrong.
I know, I'm dead wrong, dude. Tribe still in an incredible position, although you can see Truth has got that scaling Baron that we've talked about a lot, starting also scaling very nicely on the Scarf. So I think if this gets towards late game and you can find a way to isolate School potentially, or at least put pressure on him, I do think I favor what Nova have brought to the table. However, I don't know if many of you guys have known, but I've watched a bit of Joseph's stream from time to time. Joseph's jungle flicker is legendary. It is a legendary pick.
It is so toxic.
It's not toxic. It's a real pick, and it's very
If you're
good.
playing against it, it's toxic. It's the worst.
Absolutely.
You don't want to play against it. Yeah, let's go ahead and break it down. There was a bit of an invade, but let's break this flicker down.
All right, so Flicker, basically, it works the same way as you see sometimes Captain Flickers playing. The one item that makes Flicker good on this current update is Pulse Weave. And what it does is it allows Flicker to be more than a walking scout cam, which is kind of what he was previously. It allows him to have an engage tool that really functions nicely with that stealth, because you can stealth engage on Pulse Weave, but you can also just flat out engage with Pulse Weave and then just pop your B in the middle of their team like this, and that starts to slow everybody down. It's an incredible engage tool, and it allows you to set up fights on your terms. Also, it does a surprising amount of damage, and Flicker's quite tanky.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's got amazing synergy there, and you know, there's nice things that Flicker already brings to the table, like his ability to just kind of deward the map, take down vision very easily, very naturally. So that's all he needed: a little durability, a little tank up, some damage. Erica jumped forward plus a turret shot. I kind of froze up as Joseph was getting lit up, but he'll be able to get himself back. In fact, thinking about jumping into the river here, where 3 of his teammates are clashing with Delphi, Eco, and starting. The Crystal Treant is spawned up, and these teams both want to go ahead and get over onto this buff. Eco trying to be the front line, dropping low. He's going to have to get back here. Sketchy situation, but Truth has waddled his Baron way down from the top lane. And Crystal buff does go over to Tribe after all of that and rotating the Baron down.
Yeah, Old School, nice rotation from him. And also picks up the Crystal buff for his work. He's now, oh, wait a second, he might be going toe-to-toe here. He does.
Toe to floor.
Toe to floor, I think is a better way of describing it.
And now Joseph, he's in there trying to show us the power. Starting, winds up that Dragon's Breath. He'll go forward. Look at this little dragonfly. He is so quick. Able to get one, now in a good position to get onto this Crystal Treant. Nova bringing the pressure right back the other way. In fact, they will get it. And with that other CP buff being dropped down, now they're both on the side of Nova. You gotta feel good about that one if you're a Nova fan.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a really good take. I think Old School just maybe disrespecting that rotation coming out from Erica on the Reza, and now Old School again taunted up, dead.
Oh my goodness, that was just a good old-fashioned beatdown.
Yeah, and also just because they knew that the healing flask was not there for Old School, so
Joseph!
absolutely.
Oh, Joseph just ended Erica. Oh, that was the 2 versus. I mean, his team was there, but that was a 2 versus 1. Joseph did that. Joseph made it happen. Most mechanically skilled player on the map.
Hey, dude, Joseph's Flicker, we talked about it. It's a thing to be reckoned with. The Pulse Weaver's online now. That is a item spike for him, and he's going to allow to be functioning and kind of a roaming gank squad with this particular item.
I'm excited to see what they can get done as time goes on here. They'll secure up weapon buff onto School, and now move into Ghostwing area, where they do have vision control in the pit. There is vision control from Nova on the top brush up towards the middle lane side. Nova are not going to give this away for free, though. They sniff it out. They know something's happening. They'll go ahead and force Tribe off of this. Tribe going to respect the fact that Nova are down here, that they're capable of getting some work done. Go ahead and move down. It looks like they're positioning. They're just waiting to figure out where there's no good opening. Nova's positioning is so good that they can't go for the Ghost Wing. They can't go for the turret either. But Max Green has made his way down here now. Joseph looking for the engage. He's on to Delphi. Truth stays at range. Delphi rooted up. Looks like Delphi's going to go down. No, with the fountain, he stays alive. Nova able to turn it around with Chuck falling first. Looking for Old School next. Thank goodness Mooncloak came out, because that would have been Tribe losing at least 1 or 2 more. And with that, this is Nova into the Ghostwing pit right here. There's vision down from Tribe, but nothing that they can do.
Yeah, Nova finally get the first major objective on the map in the form of that Ghost Wing. And again, you didn't need to win the team fight in terms of actual kills, but just by forcing Tribe back to base, it bought you enough time. And you've got a Baron with 1 item finished. You've also got a Scarf. They will rip through something like a Ghost Wing very quickly. And you can see the health regen has already made them healthy enough to siege that tier 1 turret too. So this is a good start for Nova. And now they just need to look to rotate, take more objectives, and maybe now they could group up and go for this top lane tier 1. The wave isn't quite in their favor, and it would take a bit of time to get there, but it's definitely on the cards.
What's interesting is they're in a great position to take down this top lane and apply a lot of pressure on the map. At the same time, Erica's still down in bottom, and they will have to rotate on this because Erica capable of getting a lot of work done as well. And yeah, nope, that's top turret going down fairly easily. Actually, a lot faster than I even imagined it would. With that, Nova rotate back on the map. Tribe can't even shove in mid at all.
Yeah, and actually, right now, Nova on the front foot. Maybe I should go back to my original prediction, Humanist. I can't back out. I'm not backing out. I'm on the Nova hype train. Not backing out of this one. I think that
around. I mean, this is your life. Live it.
I'm actually wore flip-flops today, so maybe I'm allowed to do that.
I mean, you don't have to wear the flip-flops to flip-flop as a caster. It is okay. It's only chat that was going to rip on you, and I'm sure they won't clip it at all. If you are wrong, talk about it later. Erica trading down in bottom. Erica's doing just fine. In fact, Tribe are going to go ahead and rotate out, get back to the base. A couple breaking points being picked up across the map simultaneously. School's Kinetic has the breaking point. Truth's Baron has the breaking point. Both these teams ready to go.
Yeah, and like this is hitting item spikes that we should have seen from Vision much earlier in the game right now. Truth also not heavily investing into defense, knows that the offensive items are key, especially 3 items minimum are key on Baron to make him function in these later team fights. And you can see picking up the critical strike. Dude, big fan.
I'm telling you, this is what you do. Like, you can get the weapon infusion, but look at that. Guaranteed crit to start things off. I'm loving it. Instant breaking point stacks. Now, he doesn't follow up on it, so it's not like the most ideal usage we've ever seen, but it means that, like, he scared him off. There was no way they're going to stand and trade there. And now Tribe. You see him kind of in an unfamiliar position where they're being slightly outclassed in the rotations movements across the map. Now, Mooncloak. Gabe Vizzle drops the gauntlet, but the block by starting to get back. A nice Scythian wall to knock Truth into the gauntlet wall and stun him up, but he stays alive. Truth gets a couple basic attacks. He's going to reset and reposition. Can he? He jumps forward.
Right to the back.
Oh, Truth has no fear. He only fights. Holy Nova, and we don't even have a grace. Nova take 3 down. They lose nothing. We're 11 minutes in, and Nova is putting the pedal to the metal.
That right there is 4D chess Baron. Just knowing that a lot of that movement and closing gap potential has been used right there to get onto Truth's position. Why not just jump to the black, split the team, take the pressure off your teammates, and create a very interesting decision for Tribe to have to make in that team fight? Do we peel back to deal with Truth and the Baron, or do we try and take these low HP health bars down in front of us who aren't quite such high priority? That was a really nice split of focus for Nova, and Old School now to walk straight to his death, surely here. Maybe Tribe can save him, though.
Old School trying to make something happen. He sees an opening. They may be able to collapse and find a kill. In fact, it looks like, again, Delphi in a bad spot here. Delphi doesn't have his ultimate. He must go down. In fact, he will. That's the 4th kill of the game for Tribe, and maybe an opportunity for them to get in onto this Ghost Wing here. Maybe clear out some vision, but definitely an opening for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Delphi, whilst he is a key member of the team, it might not be enough to allow Tribe to go straight for this. I think there definitely will be a contest here. Nova definitely, you can see with the Baron ultimate coming out.
Yeah, this is forcing Tribe back. Tribe, interesting position. Eco only level 7, so they won't find that stun. Look at the Dragon's Breath burning on through. Tribe can't handle the heat. They're going to take down a double kill with that one Baron attack at the end, splashing on through. What the nuts? That's the ace. And Nova Esports are dominating Tribe Gaming here in game 1.
Nearly 10k gold for Nova. They took a very small advantage and ran with it, and now they are looking like an insurmountable lead is opening up right now. Nova are very much in the driving seat here. They're going to go straight for Blackclaw off the back of that Ghost Wing, take a quick 1-2 punch, as well as picking up a bit of pressure in the bot lane too. This is Nova's game to lose right now, Humanist.
You know, it's interesting. Like, on one side, you have 3 damage dealers. On the other side, 2 damage dealers. And when you're behind, it definitely doesn't feel good to be not having as much damage to stack up. And Nova are doing a great job to capitalize on that. It's like at this point, with Truth being online, who do you choose to go for? You can't let the Baron just hammer on you. He's just stacking up breaking point. Plus, he's just going to get stronger as the fight goes on. The res is going to get into the back line so easy. And if you're not... at the same time, you got starting on a Scarf. He's just raining down Spitfires. Speaking of, they're onto this turret. Turret's going to go down fairly quickly here. Little taunt over the wall from Delphi. Looking to cause some trouble. Chuck, one attack from Truth, drops him low. Eco, he's pretty low. They're fighting inside the gauntlet. Bada Boom disrupts the fight. Truth finds the Malign. Now only 1 damage dealer for Tribe. They're splitting, running like... oh my goodness. Dropping like flies, we could say. Armory is down, and it looks like Nova are about to close this game out here. And I took 51-49 on the series, but things not looking quite good for my predictions at this point, as Tribe loses game 1 in under 14 minutes. Numbers are hard.
Have you seen Tribe lose a game like that? I don't think Tribe have lost since preseason.
I've never seen Tribe lose a game.
That was insane. Again, look, the roster changes, bringing D'Anzio out and Chuck in, there's going to be some gelling issues there, but Nova look really strong. By the way, I didn't mention Pulse Weave Reza. It's actually a pretty good item to make him a bit tankier in teamfights and give him more chase down potential, as well as having that extra burst damage on top of Aftershock. I like it, Erica. I like it. All right, let's go.
I like you. I also like Tasty Bacon and Munchables.
What a performance coming out from Nova. They managed to take it, and a convincing win as well against Tribe. What a way to start the championship match.
It took a little while. It was even for a fair bit of time, but once Nova got that lead, the snowball started rolling down the hill. They absolutely took off after that first big team fight win.
And honestly, it happened a lot quicker than I thought it was gonna. When you've got a Baron, when you've got a Scarf on your lineup, you expect it to be a very slow build, but they kind of won a couple of mid-game team fights and just immediately hit the go button and just charge forwards.
And that's kind of always been the MO of starting all over, and truth is that they take these hyper late game carries and somehow bring them online like 10 minutes into the game instead of 20 minutes in. So really excellent stuff coming out of Nova and just looking so strong.
Yeah, and honestly, you can't even take anything away from Tribe here, because it's not like Tribe played this badly. Like, their rotations were good. They were grouping up for fights. They just couldn't seem to win these team fights. They maybe needed to change the style and stop going for straight 5v5s, because it wasn't something that they could win clearly in this matchup. But we'll have to see if that's something they can change going into game 2. Bear in mind, Tribe is a very cognizant team. You expect them to pivot here, and going into the next draft, you expect things to change up. But let's take a look at the path to our championships that these two teams have taken. Starting off with Nova, they kicked things off by defeating Liberation X. That was a hype matchup as well, 2-0. They then took out Vegetable Juice 2-0 in the quarterfinal. And in the semifinal, they had a close series with Vision, but managed to edge out 2-1 in the end.
Yeah, it's been really strong stuff for Nova all the way through. Again, having to start with Liberation X and only getting stronger and stronger opponents from there. So really impressive run for them. Tribe, they've had a little bit of a cleaner run through the bracket thus far, but being the #1 seed, you typically are expecting to have the easiest run through. As you can see, they took down Toxic Peace and Rampage Gods, and finally it took out Team Ferox yesterday, all 3 of them in 2-0 fashion. This is their first loss of the VPL.
Yeah, let's bear in mind there was that factoid right at the very start of this series. They hadn't lost a game since preseason. Obviously, scrims not included, but like in tournament play, they had not lost a game since preseason. That's a long time, and Nova have just served them that first loss. Nova has yet to win a championship as an organization, and they are 1 game away right now. This next game, everything pivots on this singular match.
Yeah, this is so crucial for them, and for the side of Nova, we know that they're very, like, the mental aspect of this team is something that we've talked about a lot. You know, how do they recover from falling behind or things like that? Now it's got to be, can they keep it contained until the game is done? You cannot go into this one thinking, we've got this in the bag or anything like that, because that's when you end up starting to make mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see how they're going to move forward. Honestly, this next draft, I'm excited to see what comes out from these two teams. The Scarf, I think, worked incredibly well. The fact that he was able to get those massive Dragon Breaths across the entire team. And that's kind of the difference maker with Scarfs. Sometimes it just gets blocked away. Sometimes your Dragon Breaths just aren't good enough. But if you can get those ults off, you can win the game single-handedly. Let's take a look at Delphi, though, because especially during the earlier portions of the game, he was absolutely pivotal to the team. By the end of the game, he didn't have the best score out of everyone, but he set everyone up to win.
Yeah, and it's kind of almost, the style is very similar to what we've seen from Delphi throughout the VPL. Not having the best score is something that we don't usually see from him. He's usually right up there, and you had the top KDA coming into this weekend of all North American players. So he has absolutely been on fire.
All right, we are into the draft for game number 2 now. This is a test for Tribe at this stage. They need to pivot, they need to change their style, and find another way to come at Nova, because if they can't draft well here, they're going to be out of the tournament. This time they're on the B side, and look at this. Nova just not banning away. They want to allow all of the power picks through.
Yeah, it's taking a page out of Clash's book. I mean, hey, Clash won Europe. They're the top team in Europe. Not a bad team to take a page from. We'll see what the bans are going to end up being here. As obviously you do have a ban coming out from the side of Tribe, so they will almost certainly be taking their second ban as well.
Yeah, when you're second pick, you have to go for the pans. You have to stop whatever you don't want them to get going into that first pick. Churnwalker is the first ban. I'm not really surprised by both of these teams. Incredibly good at Churnwalker. And I feel like Churnwalker is one of those heroes that's very polarizing. If you're not that good, he's kind of whatever. But if you're good at Churnwalker, he can single-handedly win the early game.
Now the mind games start, because I'm sure Tribe would love to leave this Kensei open and take it for themselves. Nova, they've left it open almost every game. They have not picked it up when they've had the chance to pick it before. So
and also the kinetic.
Was that all just a bait, though? The Kensei is available, so is the kinetic. Where do Nova decide to go? Was the entire VPL a bait to try and get Tribe to leave the Kensei open for them?
This is a story as old as time, right? Keep your cards close to your chest. Don't play everything until the final matchup. We're here. We're in the championship, and it looks like the Kensei is going to come out from Nova. We've yet to see this in the tournament.
They've played us all for fools, Joe. They have played us all for fools.
They've let Kinetic
go
through.
Yesterday on Hayes' side, they let it go for Vision to take, feeling confident they could win with it, and now they say, you know what? Now is the time we take it with match
Snuck
point.
in some practice last night.
Oh my goodness. I am so impressed by the fact that they kept this. They had everyone,
hang on.
anyone that looked at their drafts was under the impression that Nova just did not play Kensei.
My one concern, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, because I feel like we hype up Kensei as an auto win a lot of the time. My one concern is we haven't seen it in tournament play from them. We haven't seen it in scrims from them. Solo queue Kensei is not the same as competitive Kensei. So you have to wonder, how much practice have they actually been able to have on Kensei? Because it's not an easy hero to play at the top level.
It's not, but I feel like if you're willing to pull it out first pick in the your last game of the finals if you win it,
that implies
you have
confidence.
to feel very confident.
It does imply confidence, but I have yet to see a singular game of Vainglory 3v3, 5v5 ever that Nova wasn't confident. Like, have you ever seen Starting All Over or Truth not confident or Delphi? These guys are always confident. They ooze confidence when it comes to the Rise.
That is a very good point, but again, we'll have to just wait and see. Obviously, it's once we get back into the draft, it's going to be the same picks and bans. So that Kensei, that is locked in. That is going to be happening. I am so excited to see what they do with this Kensei, or if, like you said, maybe it was just, okay, we actually changed our mind. We don't want Tribe to have this. We maybe should have banned it away. And so they're just taking it to get it away from them. I think if that's the case, it could end up being a mistake that haunts them. But I am much more inclined to believe that they just kept it as a secret this entire time.
Maybe. We'll have to see how this draft continues to pan out. And obviously, we'll have to see how Tribe kind of draft around this. Because, yes, we've seen Kensei doing incredibly well in tournaments, but we've seen Tribe doing incredibly well in the tournament. And we know that they have strategies to play around this kind of thing. They wouldn't have not banned it if they didn't think that they could take it on. They wouldn't have banned Churnwalker over Kensei if they didn't think that they could handle a Kensei.
Unless they were just, again, under this impression that Nova did not play it.
Sure. I mean, that is definitely a possibility. We'll have to wait and see as we're just getting the draft restarted and we'll be able to get this game number 2 underway. I have to say, though, coming on into this series, I was expecting, full-on 25-minute games, back-to-back, like, even kills. But Tribe, after they lost control, they actually started off in the lead. Let's bear that in mind. Tribe got the first few kills of the game, but then they had one bad skirmish, and it felt like they just couldn't turn anything around.
Yeah, they had a lot of trouble getting themselves back into these fights. And again, so much of it was the fact that this Baron and Scarf were doing far more damage than I think that they were anticipating when it came for those mid-game skirmishes.
Yeah, and honestly, there was no way to get onto that backline. There was no way to attack the Scarf or the Baron. Everything was being body blocked by the Finn. It was very difficult for them to be able to, do anything about the fights. They maybe needed to get a flank going or something. Yep. There are definitely ways to get out of that situation. Try and look for a flank. Look for a split push. Don't fight them directly. But in the end, if they're that far ahead, and if they're grouped as a 5 and you split push, they're just going to take turrets faster than you. You can't just always Alt F4 the situation.
You have to look at where the enemy team is before you go for a split push like that, because if they are at all grouped up, ready to push, like you said, they're just going to say, okay, you can have one turret in bottom, we'll take 2 or 3 of them in top. We saw it happen. We've seen it happen numerous times in Vainglory 5v5 already, where teams have made this mistake of committing too hard to that split push and then just getting punished heavily for it.
Absolutely. It appears that there's a bit of an issue with the draft right now. So while we get that figured out, I want to remind you guys that Yates is going to be joining the Vainglory roster on Wednesday. So let's take a look at his teaser.
For generations, our people have run from the churn. But now, with Githian steel, Elkin magic, and Seraphim knowledge, my men and I have obliterated the infested lands, making way for those who will end the cycle of devastation forever. If some old trees must fall, if some beasts swear revenge, well, that is the price to be paid for survival.
And Yates will be available in the Autumn Open as well. That's going to be kicking off in October on the 20th. And make sure that you guys are signed up. The signups are already open and anyone can enter. It's the Autumn Open. So make sure you guys are involved.
Yeah, free to sign up. Signups are open right now. Head on over to Twitter, jump on in, and get yourself signed up for your chance at a piece of the $10,000 prize pool.
Yeah, absolutely. Apparently the draft has happened without us, so we'll be able to discover that once we get on into the game. Apologies for the issues with the draft, and we should be able to kick things off very shortly for our potentially final game of the tournament. Tribe are against the ropes right now. They have to come back. They have to win 2 games on the trot. Nova on the cusp of their very first championship victory. It's about time we head on to Sovereign's Rise. Kick this thing off. It's Tribe up against Nova. It's game number 2. I'm going to pass it over to Excoundrel and Humanist to talk you through the last of the summer VPL action.
Here we go for game 2 between Nova and Tribe. I hope you guys are ready because this is surely going to be fireworks. My name's Humanist. I'm joined by Scoundrel one more time. And these are some strong compositions right here, my man. I do not know what to expect.
I mean, if you look over the side on Nova, if it ain't broke, don't fix it is kind of the way that they're running with this. Pretty much everybody on similar heroes. The only changes up is that Erica Kane is going to be on the Lance instead of the Reza, but it pretty much functions the same way. You're still relying on Truth. You're still relying on starting to be the major powerhouses on the team. I think what we see from Tribe is a bit more comfort. Max is going to be on his patented Grumpjaw. Old School's going to be going back to something that we've known him play for years now, which is that Vox. Joseph's going to be on his Fortress. I mean, these are just comfort picks for Tribe. And it also has the element of being a really solid teamfight composition as well.
I'd love to see Joseph on the Fortress with this Vox coming out for school. Like you said, I mean, this is comfort. They just play together so incredibly well. The synergy between these two heroes, let alone what these guys can do as a squad. I'm scared for both of these. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is first place on the line for Tribe. No, but one game away from taking first place in the VPL Summer Open for North America. This is pretty tense stuff. And both teams gonna kind of slow roll it in the first 2 minutes of this one.
Yeah, and this is a team that was kind of cobbled together for VPL. I know that the coach left was really sort of keen to get these guys back on and play at a high level, and they have certainly been performing well, taking that game off Tribe in what seemed like a very easy fashion for them. But they have again got a slightly different composition to go toe-to-toe with this time round. There's a little bit more contention in terms of late game scaling with the Vox. Vox still scales quite nicely, still has that option to all in onto a Baron or a Scarf in a team fight once he's built up those breaking point stacks. So things just change a little bit round this time. Maybe not going to be so easy. Maybe Tribe have learned from their mistakes in the first game, not going to give away too many of those global objective fights.
I mean, a lot of damage coming out onto Erica. Erica is going to be fine, looking to bait under the turret and turn around with an impale. I think what really stands out to me when we look at old school's Vox is he has a great sense for when he has, and for knowing like when he has just enough breaking point stacks to fully engage. Like I think he does that better than almost anybody.
I mean, he's had years and years and years of experience with him, so you'd expect a guy of his caliber on Vox to be able to do that kind of play, and he's, like you said, one of the best in the world at making that decision. And that is one of the hardest bits about playing Vox. Yeah, you can use your Sonic Zoom, you can kite, a lot of people can do that. It's all about knowing when to change from defensive to aggressive.
And old school has an eye for it. Tribe has 3 up towards that top healing treant, while down in bottom a bit of an engage breaks out in the river. Eco is a slow moving river troll, and he's going to need starting to bail him out of this one. In fact, Delphi's made his way over. First blood happened up in the top lane. God, goodness gracious me, oh my, oh, rockin' Ohio.
I mean, that was a really good rotation from Chuck and Joseph there, specifically because Chuck knew that the contest was going on the CP buff. He knew and could keep tabs on where Scarf was at all times in that situation. So he made a very easy rotate, knowing the mid lane wave wasn't getting shoved in, and they could punish a Erica who'd already had that flask burn earlier under the tower. So that was a really good move by the Tribe guys. Much better from than this time round.
Tribe guys, I like that branding. Tribe guys. All right. Just,
I got it. What kind of burgers do they do?
Buffalo burgers. Back to the game though, 1-0 in favor of Tribe. 4 minutes in, almost 1k net worth. No, not quite. I mean, on their way to 1k net worth advantage. Eco doing his best to hold this lane back, but Chuck flexes on this Finn, forces Eco under that turret. And that means the starting's gonna lose at least like 3-4 minions there.
Absolutely, starting as well, constantly putting pressure on, but he's actually a little bit further behind this time round. And again, I think Chuck's made very clever plays. Hasn't given away too much compared to the previous game. And I think Tribe overall are making smart, they're clearing the rotations. They're abusing the weak point of Nova, which is that top lane Lance. That is the weakest point in the map, and you can see the constant rotations towards that top side of the map to take pressure off. Especially that top side CP buff, but it looks like Nova are trying to contest it this time around. Nova
dropping the Spitfire, nice vision down will signal that Tribe is rotating over for this now. This is a 5 versus 4 Barons, not here. CP buff does go the way of Tribe, so this is a nice strong rotation from them. And they find Erica. I don't think they chase Erica down just yet. Old School get a little bit of damage down. And Truth just kind of wandering around bottom right now. Let's see, what's the plan here from Truth? He wants to go ahead and contest this crystal buff, but this is sketchy.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to commit too hard with just a Serpent's Mask as a Baron. And the plan from Truth is just the same as usual, farm up. Now, what Truth has done is he's taken the turret very early on. If you speak to Leon, there is a specific strategy called... Okay, well, Leon, I guess I do because I'm on the European server, but there is a specific strategy called don't take the turret strategy, which is something that Leon likes to do when he's in bot lane. And it really is supposed to be about making sure the wave doesn't push too far up in that bot lane, meaning you can constantly farm and get a massive level advantage and a massive CS and gold advantage as the weapon power carry, making you a really powerful mid-game force. When you take that bot lane tier 1 turret, you can't overextend and constantly farm because it's a lot more risky because you're on the opponent's side of the map.
Yeah, so if you're farming, it's maybe not the best thing to do, but if you want to fight, it's definitely the thing to do. And Joseph drops Nova, finding an easy kill, looking for Gabe Vizzle. They'll find it. Erica, nice knockback into the turret there. Tribe will kind of collapse down here as Max Green jumps on in. A little bit of splash damage. Old School looking to get some work done, but he doesn't have a breaking point. And I'm like, yo, my man, what are you doing right there? As Nova take 3 kills, and now we'll look to apply a little bit of pressure onto this turret. Surely this turret's going to start firing back at them as Max Green and Chuck do everything they can to hold on.
Yeah, not the most fruitful of engages for Tribe, their humanists. But regardless, I don't know if it's enough time bought for Nova to go for Ghostwing, and that will be the silver lining. However, Truth manages to raid down to the bot lane. I mean, Max is doing a really lovely job of shoving big waves into Truth here. He's going to get a huge amount of gold and experience just off these waves bouncing towards him in the bottom side of the map.
Yeah,
Wait a second, we've got an engagement mid.
Max, actually. And Pale up. Joseph, once again, forward, not incredibly tanky. Knocked back, actually maybe helping him a little bit as Max Green shows up to the party. He's looking for starting. He'll find Delphi and Eco. Delphi, a nice little 2-man trash talk over the wall. Love a little good trash talk during competition. And once again, Old School, you don't have the items. You got to be very careful. They turn it around. The Fountain keeping alive Nova just for a second here. The Ion Cannon drops on down. It's going back the other way. Nova find their footing. Looks like Gabe will be dropping Old School, trading with Delphi. Delphi kind of just waiting for maybe Truth to get into position. Truth's like, team, there is actually a farm to be had. Gabe, can he dodge out the Spitfire? Yeah, he dodges one. Starting 1, 2 basic attacks. Spitfire won't land. Goops down 2, 3 basic attacks. Trays his own life over, but it is worth it.
But the Crystal Treant goes over to Truth, and Nova, Delphi and Truth are now going to clean up that bottom side of the jungle. So realistically, in the end, a decent advantage
School
across the
got
board.
that kill too, just throwing it in there.
Yeah, School did pick up a kill, and actually is now 2-1. So realistically, you'd say that was a pretty even trade, but the very small bottom jungle advantages that Nova have managed to pick off here probably give them just a very slight edge in that scenario.
Things are getting dangerous as dangerous can be. Once again, it feels like a bit of deja vu as Eco is just pinned against this middle lane T1 turret here. Chuck consistently shoving this forward. Eco only level 5. All he can do is trying to hold this lane. But, you know, the thing is, Starting's trying to get as much farm off the map as possible, so he's consistently a little bit late there. Doesn't lose too much, so not a big deal. And the story continues up in top. Erica, 2 versus 1. Old School trying to trade here. He's double buffed up. They want to pressure the turret. That's their key objective. But the jump forward, they'll be able to get the Lance. Eco, he shows up, but too late to the party. And Joseph and Old School, if they get some minions forward, they should be able to get in here and take this turret down. In fact, the fact they're going to go ahead and focus down Eco. Surprising stuff. He'll go ahead and keep himself alive with the self fountain there. Turret's definitely going to fall. Nobody else has rotated over. And there you go. Got the kill, got the turret. Old School will be moving over. He's got this breaking point in the weapon infusion now. This guy's ready to start firing off.
Yeah, 4-1 and 2. Great position for Old School to be on one of his signature heroes, and he's going to be very happily now making heavy rotations, left, right, and center, trying to punish Nova. They have the item spikes that come online a bit better for Vox than they do for Baron. And Tribe feel confident enough to go outright for the Ghostwing, knowing that they just cleaned up a couple of members who will be back at base for Nova.
This feels like a massive power spike over here for Tribe. Let us not forget that this Baron does have breaking point double minions foot right now. I mean, if he's able to get a couple attacks off in the beginning of the fight completely unhindered, it could be good for them. But there's the jump in. Tribe pull the trigger. They go in. Starting is down. Looking for more. It's Delphi next on the menu. I'll go ahead and let the Wolves stay after them because they've got bigger dragons to fry over in the pit. They'll take down Ghostwing. Max finds Truth, but with this, Tribe, honestly, building up a bit of momentum in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the weaker points for this Nova composition has been Erica on this Lance in the top lane. He didn't go for a Storm Guide banner. He didn't go for Storm Crown. It meant his wave clear was a little bit subpar compared to most top laners that look to invest in that kind of item. Going for the pulse sweep first is great, but if you're not team fighting, it's not going to work out. And that's been a sore spot that has been, whoa, that's a lot of damage onto Truth. That was a sore spot that's been punished by Tribe over and over again. That's allowed them to get huge topside advantage and specifically Old School advantage on this Fox.
I love the scout cam down in the brush here. I'm not sure the Nova actually realized that was down. Joseph goes ahead and marks target with the Ghost Wing buff. Tribe obviously feeling confident. They do not have Max Green with them. Max Green also holding a Crucible for his team, so I'm sure they'd love to group up and kind of fight together. About 45 more seconds, 40 seconds or so, we will have this Black Claw spawning on the map, and it'll be another point to fight over on the map. So I expect another team fight rather soon.
Yeah, let's have a look at item spikes as well. You can see starting's now at 2 items. He does get caught out here very heavily by Chuck. I think starting's dead.
Chuck just bodied starting. That was pretty good stuff.
Well, Marlene does that, dude. When she's got that aftershock online, now also with the Dragon's Eye, Marlene will pick off those squishies very heavily. Chuck now looking to be aggressive.
This is Tribe. Tribe's got it right here. Wait for it. It's going to come over the top. Look at Joseph stacking up the breaking points. He's going to get at least one. They will get the turret off of this as well. Now Erica's in. Erica's going to die as well. This is it. They're online. How many times have we seen this story? But a bada boom? Oh, we've never seen this version of the story. Bada boom will disrupt Tribe off. Fountain Blown by Gabe Vizzle keeps his teammates alive. We can tell Blocks just making stuff happen right now. And Nova, they got to be really careful not to misstep. There is a lot of strength coming out of I was gonna say starting all over Scarf. Down at bottom, Chuck finds another solo kill as he takes down Truth.
Yeah, at this point it just feels like, I mean, a couple of these plays have looked fantastic from Nova, but realistically, Tribe are all over them. It feels like they're just leaving Truth to farm. They're like, okay, let's just give up team fights. Hopefully don't give up too much on the map, and then let Truth get to the late game. That kind of maybe feels like the game plan that they're running with right now, but Tribe are doing such an excellent job of punishing at left, right, and center. They're going for global objectives. They're looking to be aggressive, and right now they're going for Black Claw.
They are indeed. And this is, for the most part, no, it's uncontested. Ion Cannon will be too early to find that steal. Black Claw unleashed. Score now 12-6 in favor of Tribe. 13 minutes in. 4K net worth advantage as they'll start to march in towards mid, looking for an opening. Chuck on the front line. Look at that damage coming out into Eco. Makes him look like a squishy mage right there with the damage that they put out. Weapon infusion popped for Truth, level 11. He'll be looking to get onto one of these squishier targets. Gauntlet comes down by Gabe, blocked off as they're able to get back. Eco and starting melting, they'll fall simultaneously. Tribe do not care. The wolves are out, they're running in. This is a real team engage right here as they go with no mercy. Double kill for Chuck. They are deep in the base, juggling the damage like some clowns, and they're out of there. Black Claw will take down the T2 as Tribe take a massive team fight victory.
I mean, that was insane. I can see what Max is trying to do, looking for a flank play with his teleport boots. He's trying to do the troll Grumpshot ultimate teleport to base move that Max likes to pull off. Right there, you saw Truth actually reflex block the Grumpshot ultimate, which is a big block for him. But regardless, that heavy engage gave with the perfect Crucible, followed up with I Love Joseph, obviously having the ultimate from the Fortress. They dove in and punished that lead that they have over Nova. Nova, however, did steady the ship, and they didn't lose an armory, which is massively important because it allows them to control waves at the same pace that they were previously. They're not going to naturally be pushed in one lane right now, and actually, they're going straight for Ghostwing.
We're going straight for Ghostwing, but there's also the movement coming down from Tribe. Tribe have to realize what's happening. It feels like a bold call to just go for this if they did.
I think it would be really underestimating Tribe's ability to react, just given the place that they are in. I think they must have assumed Tribe were either just in their own jungle or backing off, which they were, but Tribe were very well aware of the fact that Nova had telegraphed their move over to Ghostwing, and now Tribe are the ones setting up for this. I just don't think Nova have the item spikes to contest right now. I think it would be silly to try and contest Ghostwing.
They have so much movement speed, the ability to stick onto targets, not to mention the mobility coming out of the Vox. Oh! Skull grabs the goal. Oh, man, he's just styling now. This is
that was a resonance bounce, by the way.
It was? Oh man,
yeah.
that was nice stuff right there. I'm digging it. You can tell. Old School's feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely one of his best heroes you'd expect him to. And he's now working towards what I think that's likely going to be. What do you think this last item is going to be? A spell sword or a sorrow blade? Would be my two guesses.
Hard to say. Hard to say. I mean, I guess he could just I'm not even
I think
trying
Spell
to guess.
Sword's viable. I think Spell Sword's viable because the cooldown increase on the Sonic Zoom.
Yeah.
I genuinely think Spell Sword's a pretty viable last item. You just don't have the same amount of damage, but it's all about kiting.
Just feeds into that ability to be mobile through the fights. Like it gives you, like they have the War Treads, they have the Fortress to increase move speed. Everybody's saving their boots for when those two things aren't being used. Then you got the Sonic Zoom to dash around, Vanguard slingshotting people in and around the fights. Max can continue to close distance. Like they just have so many tools to jump around these fights. Crystal Treant pulled back, taken. Old school, Jesus, on the front line trying to really make something happen here, and he sure is. Look at this Vox go. Eco trying to tank up for the fight, pulls back with a polite company. He can't really do enough. No, nice forced accord will disrupt the fight, but Eco's fallen. Erica with the Githian wall into the nice impale. Do they have some follow-up here? Ion Cannon comes down, but Joseph and Max stay alive. They've split Moline apart from the fight. School's fallen, and that's the biggest strength for Tribe right now. So the chase is on. They want Chuck, and they want Chuck bad, but who doesn't really? We can talk about that later as well, Scoundrel. Tribe kiting back, looking to turn around and get the damage down. Delphi's in with the damage. The Jawbreaker has the stun. The controls there as Nova flipped this game on its head. Still down in overall net worth, but picking up 3 kills for 1.
Dude, I mean, if you look at the way that fight played out, Tribe was so invested in trying to take down Erica and Delphi, who at this point are really tanky, that even though the gauntlet came through, you had a lot of time gifted over to Starting and to Truth to build up the stacks in their Dragon's Eye and Breaking Point. And by the time that they actually got back into the fight, Tribe had clumped up around that front line. Splash damage and AoE damage coming out from the Scarf and the Baron made it very easy for them to try and clean up the squishies in the fight. And also, again, Delphi's Tony ultimates have been insane.
Nice attempt to go ahead and steal away that Black Claw. It will be unleashed by Nova. The good guys Nova unleashing the dragon. You know, dragon doesn't like to be pinned up. In fact, he's angry and he's so happy that he's been unleashed. He's going to fight for them. He's down in the mid lane here. Nova looking to pull this one out of the bag, and how amazing that would be to come in 2-0 against Tribe. Tribe have to take a good fight here. They cannot lose this fight, you know? So my question is, like, I wonder, are they going to play a little bit more defensively, look to just take out this Blacklaw, or do they get in there and try to find a couple kills and go ahead and flip this back the other way? Tribe stay in their base for now. Max Screen, he's into Nova. The gauntlet comes down from Gabe. They're looking for Starting. Have they found him? It looks like it, but the Fountain keeps Starting alive. He's trying to kite back. He will go down. School's deep on the back lines. He takes down Truth. That's the double kill for the Vox. It's time to dance, baby. You're on ice. It's the musical Tribe Gaming version right here. Lion King's got nothing on it. Max Green squares up with Delphi while the rest of his team will push on forward. Looks like Max will be able to shove Delphi out. Blacklaw's still alive. And with this, Tribe will just march down into this bottom lane. We got 12 seconds for Starting on the respawn, 18 on Eco, 11 on Truth. They'll get in. This bottom turret's going to drop. They're onto the Armory, or do they get onto the Vein Crystal? And it's questionable decisions. They get onto the Armory right away. Gabe moves out mid. The rest of his team dips out down bottom. Blacklaw still alive, team. And Max Green's still chasing Delphi. Erica moving forward, does get the engage onto the Fortress. It looks like they're going to lose Fortress at minimum. Maylene taking a lot of damage. She's in a bad place. Max Green pulls up, looking to recall out. Woo! That's also calculated. Man, this guy just living on the edge. Oh my goodness, Scoundrel. What a fight here. What a turn of events.
I feel like I haven't talked for about 3 minutes. That was really long.
I was having a good time. Maybe you should just stop talking.
Maybe I should. I think what happened there was, again, exactly what we called out Old School for at the start of the game. Knows when to be aggressive. He dived right to the back line. Starting and Truth were kind of blocked up by that gauntlet, and that was Old School's opportunity to dive in, build breaking point stacks on the weaker members of the team, and he did very easily. Burst down the Scarf, burst down Truth eventually, but the mistake that I think they made is they committed too many people to the bot lane Armory rush and not enough people to clearing Blacklaw, who ended up trading Armory for Armory. Now, I think I would prefer to have an Armory down in the bottom side of the map. It means it's more easy to control the wave around Ghostwing, and also will draw pressure furthest away from Blacklaw. However, it's an Armory for an Armory trade at the end of the day. And Nova have still kept this to within 4k. And at this point in the game, 4k is less damaging as it would have been at about 10 minutes.
Truths have been spoken by our dear Scoundrel. This game could go either way. Tribe taking the game means we go to game 3. Nova taking this game means it is their championship. And Joseph has been caught out one more time with nowhere to go. Nova will take down the Wolf, making this a 5 versus 4 on the map. 35-second respawn time on the Fortress, and Tribe will bide their time.
How much time do they have to work with till the next big global objective comes up? I'm assuming Ghostwing is going to be spawning fairly soon. I wasn't keeping track of the timers though, I'm a bad person. They look like they're trying to catch out Chuck though, who's already had to use boots and his B. That will get him out though, in this situation.
You're not going to catch
Tribe
Chuck
still
like that.
Nah, but the Tribe's still in a very risky spot.
Max Green has been showing that he sure loves some risky plays, and I'm sure probably feeling comfortable in the moment. Sometimes pressure brings out the best in folks.
Max has been a solid player for Tribe throughout many. I mean, look at his build. He's gone for why is his build? Teleport boots for the Troll Max Green ultimate teleport, but then he's built journey boots as well to make sure that he can get into position for it. He looks to be like really all-inning on this play.
No, it's like two different things. Like one is for just like securing one guaranteed kill. The other one is like so he can reset and team fight over and over.
But this is like an item slot that he's taking up, and the only other 2 item slots he's got with useful things in is Crucible and Slumbering Husk, and Slumbering Husk isn't that useful.
Like heroes with 2 legs use 1 boot. Heroes with 4 legs use 2 boots. That's
I see. It's just
simple logic.
I see. You've made
Not
sense
the
to me now.
Raptor. Tribe, move down. There is vision from Nova. Tribe, go ahead and drop their own scout cam, realizing there were double cams down by Nova. Look at the strategy. Now you can't even clear the other cam out. There's 2. Gabe Bizzle pulls the trigger on the gauntlet. Delphi's inside. That's the tankiest target. Starting stays on the back. Truth as well. They're trying to kite. They're doing a great job thus far. Joseph absorbing a lot of damage for Tribe, but he's down. Max Green and Gabe Bizzle dropping down low as well. Chuck doing his best along with Old School. Now Old School's in the thick of things. He can't get out of it.
Oh, Nova!
He took 4 down with Gabe Bizzle, the last man standing. There will be no defense. Tribe Gaming have fallen. Nova Esports have done it, taking Tribe down 2-0 here in the VPL Summer Open Championship. So many predictions were just ruined. Scoundrel, this Nova squad is for real.
They are an incredible set of players with high mechanical prowess. Truth looked like an absolute god this series, and starting wasn't half bad himself either. That last fight there, they tried to all in Truth, knowing that he was the key late game component, but Truth perfectly timing his jumps with some great support from his team, and he was able to heal back with that Serpent's Mask and the heavy damage that he was dealing so nicely. Incredible stuff. Our VPL champions ousting Tribe, which nobody expected, are Nova.
Congratulations, Nova. That was a thing of beauty. All phenomenal players on that side, deserving victory right there. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and throw it back over to the analyst desk. Guys, take it away.
Nova Esports have done it. They are your VPL Summer Open champions, defeating Tribe 2-0 in a tremendous performance.
For the first time in their history, Nova Esports are Vainglory champions. Congratulations to the entire squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Phenomenal performance from them and a well-deserved win as well. Thank you once again, Humanist and Scoundrel, and also FlashX and Dowsy for the entire season of casting. We really do appreciate you guys did a fantastic job. But Nova Esports, what a way to end it as well. 2-0 against Tribe. They were so far down in this game, but Lone Delphi, what? He didn't die in that entire game.
Somehow. There's 19 plus kills for the enemy team, and he was not one of them. Yeah. That's why his KDA is so good. That's why he had the highest KDA of all players.
Unbelievable performance coming out from Delphi, not just in this game, but in the entire tournament. And we do just want to shed some light on the situation that happened at the very start of the game. Obviously, there was an issue with the draft. Now, that meant that the draft was reset, but Tribe agreed that they could just completely reset the draft and play on as normal. So it was agreed on by both teams and standard tournament ruling. So this is a fair win for Nova, agreed on by both teams. And it means that Nova are going to be our champions.
Absolutely incredible stuff coming out of Nova. And you can see there they are sitting at the top of the bracket as the VPL Summer Open champions for North America. They will be the team walking away from this with the $3,000 extra in their pocket.
Yeah, not only managing to win out this series, but knocking over the reigning world champions on their way to that prize. What a phenomenal achievement here for Nova Esports. They're going to be taking that $3,000 top prize home with them. You got Tribe in second, and then Team Ferox obviously taking it earlier today. But honestly, it's all about Nova right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking home that first place finish. It was just such clean play from them once they got their momentum. In game number 1, as soon as they got that first big team fight win, it was just all over. Game number 2, they fell behind early, but as soon as they started to find some picks, as soon as they started to get back into the game, it was just never looking back. There was only one team fight that they lost from that point on, and that was when they overstayed a little bit pushing with the Black Claw. Other than that, it was just such a clean performance.
Absolutely. It has to be said, I underestimated Nova. I'd been singing their praises at the tournament. I didn't think they could take out
Jumped
Tribe.
off the bandwagon right before the finish line, Joe.
I know. Rookie error right there, but they have proven that they are absolutely the best team in North America. They've defeated every top team on the way here as well, aside from Ferox. So phenomenal stuff coming out from them. Well-deserved champions. Now, we're going to have a quick look at what's going to be happening next in Vainglory Esports. But first, a quick word from Razor. And the Autumn Open is now available for signups. It's going to be kicking off on the 20th of October, so make sure you are signed up. You could be part of the next team that makes it into that top 3.
Yeah, absolutely. You could be vying for your chance at your piece of $10,000. It is free to sign up. Signups are open right now. Head on over to Twitter at Vainglory Esport and get yourself signed up.
Yeah, get involved. We want to see more new players stepping onto the rise. We want to see you guys at home competing. And we'll see who's going to be the champion, whether Nova can become repeat champions, the first ever VPL repeat champions, because it would be the second ever VPL. But that is going to be it from us. We have our 2 champions clash in Europe and Nova in North America. It's been a phenomenal season. I cannot wait to kick off autumn. But until then, that's going to be it from us. From myself, from all of production, Tasty Bacon, and from all of the casters, we say thank you so much for joining us for the season. And we'll see you in October.